That's a hell of a win for Miami because they had no business winning that game.
Well, I mean, they shot 59%.
Yeah, no, 13-point lead. I just thought Texas kind of handed it to them in the second half a little bit.
Well, I do think that Texas went away from what they were doing, and their point guard couldn't get them back to what they were doing. I thought Miami began to break the point guard down on both ends of the floor. And I think it got to Texas. They couldn't get a stop. It's so funny, the whole survive in advance. I mean, FAU was trailing with less than 10 seconds ago in the first round against Memphis, and Memphis had the ball. And they got out of that. And Miami was down 8 to Drake with 5 minutes to play. And they're down 10 with under 9 minutes to go against Texas.
Yeah.
And this has been the older veteran team tournament, not panicking tournament. How about, by the way, FAU and Kansas State coaches just letting them play down the stretch?
Right.
Just letting them play. And how about Larinaga? He didn't call a timeout in the final 10 minutes of the game. I mean,
no, he called one when they were down
13 or 12 or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he put what's his face back in the game with 9 minutes to go, and they were down 10 or 12
with 3 fouls, right? The
big 4 fouls. That was his big decision. He didn't wait till the under 8 media timeout. He put him in about a minute and a half before that.
And I'm sorry, but that decision to reverse that call was the right call.
I think it was too, but
could have been a no call really easy too.
I think it could have been a no call.
Just a hard box out.
Hated the call at the end of San Diego State Creighton. Hated it.
I actually didn't even watch that game.
Didn't call it all game. Cannot officiate a game a certain way. I mean, Jay Wright ripped the call.
Right. Well, for the same reason you just said.
Yeah, he said you can't call a game a certain way and then
make
that call.
Understanding between the coaches, the players, and the officials about a way a game is being called. I thought he did a great job in studio explaining that.
It's funny. I know the official. He did a lot of. He worked his way up through the A-Sun. Lee Cassell made that call. He was always a good official. Had a little bit of an attitude, but was always a good official. But God, I hated that call. I don't think he pushed him either. I think if you watch it closely, the guy, he's floating and he goes straight up and down. And when he lands, he falls to the left.
I thought he clearly pushed him. I didn't think it was a foul regardless.
Hated it. Hated it. How about that weekend, Paul? Good morning, KW, Wancho, Steve, Ambien, Johnny Mac. I was surprised, by the way, Noel passed the ball down 3 at the end. I thought he was just going to take it and put up a 3. When he passed it with 4 seconds to go, I thought, don't let him get it back.
Right.
When he passed it, I actually thought about fouling. When he passed that ball 4 seconds ago, I would have whacked the guy who caught the ball. If you guy just took it out of his hands, I would have whacked him.
I was screaming foul.
Yep. Man, was that good stuff. Felipe, you got to have double plays of the day. You got to have Levicka's call, and you got to have Zagaki's call.
Oh, I got you.
Ken was trying to stay on the air. We got to get him on this week.
Yeah, we will.
I figure that.
The request is already in.
I figured. I sent him.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. This final Monday of March. Has this month been any good or what? We asked the question, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. You know, the home of college basketball, the home of the Final Four, Florida. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Mark, how the heck are you?
I'm doing terrifically. What a weekend. What a weekend for Florida basketball. What a weekend for sports fans. This tournament delivers every damn year.
And these last 2 years, this is, by the way, all of us can make the presentation to take down Greg Sankey. And all we have to do is do last year's tournament and this one. That's it. That's it. Last year's Final Four. 4 Blue Bloods. 4. Kansas, Duke, Carolina, Nova. 4. Nova, under Jay Wright, they kind of sort of get in as a blue blood. They'll go back to being a non-blue blood, but they're 21st century blue blood. This year, a 4, 2 5s, and a 9. That's how we roll. Although, Mark, not that anybody cares in this neck of the woods, but if UConn wins their 5th title in 25 years, are they a blue blood?
Yes, by the way.
I think so. Not only that, it'd be 4 decades in a row where they've won a title.
With how many different coaches?
3.
Right.
I think that qualifies.
I do too.
But we'll deal with that potentially a week from today or a week from tomorrow. I'll tell you what. I have not screamed, yelled in excitement when it has not involved my team as much as I have in this tournament in a very long time.
Well, you love chaos. You've wanted the madness to come through. And many times after we get a great first weekend of madness, what happens? The Blue Bloods take over. Mm-hmm. They reclaim the tournament as their own.
Right.
And the world as we know it continues to move on its axis. But this year, we finally had the Moulton tournament.
What do you mean? 2 mid-majors playing in 1 national semifinal? What are you talking about? In fact, I don't even know if one of the schools qualifies as a mid-major. We have to take a close look at the definition. Does FAU qualify?
Boy, it's really close.
It is.
It's really close. I think because of football and Lane Kiffin, they propel themselves to mid-major because this is the second time we've heard of them. Without that, I don't think they qualify.
All right, Schnellenberger, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Whew. Oh, boy. There had only been 3 schools from the state of Florida who had ever gone to the Final Four before this year's tournament. Before this weekend, Gators, Knowles, Artis Gilmore, and the Jacksonville Dolphins. Those are the 3 Florida schools that had been to the Final Four. Hell, we damn near doubled the list. And not only that, both games were good. Both games were exciting. Both games, the coaches sat back and let players play. I could hug Dusty May and Jim Larinaga for not calling timeouts doing the coaching during the week so that the players can do the playing on the weekends. It's old school. That's Wooden. That's Bobby Knight. You did your coaching during the week, and if you did it properly, the players would go play. It was great. I love me some Izzo, but Tom Izzo would have called every damn timeout allowed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. The Texas coach let him play too, although they might have used a timeout. But
they could have used a couple, to be
could have
really
used at
honest.
least
Good
one.
for Miami and a great job, but boy, you surrender that 10-point lead, your inability to score the basketball in the final 5 minutes of the game. It really looked to me like they could have taken a breath and a properly coached play from the bench. That's all.
They needed a set play. They did. But that's all right. You know what? Miami just didn't miss any shots. They shot 59%. 59%. They were shooting over 50%. They were losing. That's how well Texas was playing. Tell you what. How about that Marquise Noel? I mean, could we watch him play some more for Kansas State? My goodness. Followed up 20 points, 19 rebounds. He goes, well, he's not going to play another game like that. Oh, really? He goes for 30.
Most exciting player in the tournament. I'm not saying he's the best player in the tournament.
Right.
He was the most exciting player this tournament had.
And then, of course, there was the foul. I hated it. Hated it. Hated it. Was it a foul in the very simple question I have for you, Mark? I don't know what your answer is. I'm going to ask a question anyway. I know it's very dangerous. I learned that watching Law and Order. Don't ask a question unless you know what the answer is. In the first 39 minutes and 59 seconds of the game, was that a foul?
Not the way the game was called.
Okay. Then it's definitely not a foul with 1.2 to go.
I mean, that's the thing. If you want to say that it's a foul, I'll grant you that it was a foul. Here's the difference. And Jay Wright, I thought, explained it very well after the game. There's an understanding between the coaches, the players, and the referee as to how a game is officiated. And that game was officiated a certain way that was not a foul call at the end because it wasn't a foul during the game.
Do you know before that play how many fouls had been called on Creighton in the game? In the game.
Well, I know they only had 6 for the half because they had to make the foul to get up to the limit. They fouled just before that to get to 6 for the half.
For the game, before that foul was called, Creighton had been called for 10 fouls. In the game, tell me again how that's a foul. In a rock fight, they'd been called for 10 fouls. And that's a foul? I'm sorry. I know the official too. Good official. A little bit of an attitude. Good official. Worked his way up just like, coaches and players do. Did not agree with that call. I'll give McDermott credit. He crushed Lee Cassell during the game. But when the game was over and they put the microphones in front of him, he said, hey, we didn't lose because of the foul. We lost because we didn't play well enough.
Crushed him on the court.
Yeah, well.
Crushed him.
Yeah, as he should have. As he should have, in our opinion. Hated the foul call. And had no rooting interest in the game. No, none of that. Just didn't like it. I also didn't like it because the guy left his feet, to be honest with you. It's not like it was a super aggressive. He didn't attack it and go all the way to the rim. But, hey, Creighton didn't hit a 3 the whole second half. How much of it is San Diego State's defense, which, we'll have to see against FAU, and how much of it was just that kind of a weekend? Because Alabama was what? 3 for 27 and Creighton was 2 for 17. I mean, I think Alabama and Creighton were 5 for 44 shooting the three. 5 for 44. I mean, that's 12%. You're going to win a lot of games, Mark. You hold teams to 12% from beyond.
Well, I think they'd held them to 18 before that, heading into that Creighton game, or 15 or whatever it was. So that's kind of been their mantra throughout this tournament. Teams don't shoot the three ball against them at all.
No.
At all.
And we'll see, because FAU has bucked every trend. I like FAU's matchup against San Diego State. I really do. By the way, how about that little radio show a month ago that said Miami was a Final Four team? Huh? What's the name of that show?
Never heard of it.
I think it's called Miller and Moulton. I'll have to look it up. Check some tapes.
Miller and Moulton keeping their receipts.
On this one, we banged the drum for FAU that they should be getting an at-large during the final 4 weeks of the regular season. We're like, this team deserves an at-large.
And they would have gotten one.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, they actually would have. The way they were
Yes.
seated, they were in, whether or not they would have won their conference tournament or not.
They had a really close semifinal. And I'm with you. I think they get in. I think they're a 10 or 11 if they had lost that semifinal. But they've had a 20-game win streak, and now they're on an 11. That's tough to pull off in the same season. 2 double-digit win streaks. One of them starts with a 2. I mean, how many games are you going to play? In FAU's case, they're like 40 be a nice round number. We could get 2 more for 40. That'd be fantastic.
Wow. FAU in the Final Four.
Say it, Mark. Say it.
Just good for them.
Mike DeCourcy sent out a tweet in which he said, I did a feature many years back when Matt Doherty was the head coach at FAU, and I called it a lawn school. And what I meant by that was it was the type of school where you had little signs in lawns when you got within like 6 blocks of the arena saying game tonight. That's the kind of school it is. It was a lawn school. Not going to be for a while. Not going to be for a while. Their head coach, Dusty May, is going to join us in the 8 o'clock hour. How about that?
What a story. We'll get into more from FAU. Their broadcast was interesting, to say the very least, to get to the Final Four. We've got that story. We've got the Final Four. We've got a great Monday show to go through all the madness that had happened, plus some NFL free agency and everything else that occurred that you may have missed on Miller and Moulton. Thanking you so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Go Raiders. Are they like the 96 Bulls? Like 2016 Warriors?
Yes,
Like they're chasing history.
correct.
Who?
The Bruins. My God, they're 57-11. Don't mean a damn thing without a ring. Wow. 37 perfect Final Four brackets.
I thought heading into the Elite Eight, there was one perfect bracket out of
Wait.
their 20 million.
Wait, really? No.
Heading into the Elite Eight, there was one perfect bracket that they had. So I'm assuming that bracket is no longer perfect.
Scorched.
I don't know about scorched. I mean, they had a perfect bracket going to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, but probably as far as anyone will go.
Oh, I think that's pretty amazing. That means you had FDU beating Purdue.
Oh, George got another check. He made a cut.
Yeah, fortunately, probably only paid his expenses because he shot 74 yesterday.
Ambient, he will be in the NBA one day. I mean,
No, he won't. He's 5'8".
he looked like Chris Paul out there.
I'll bet you.
He was playing some amazing basketball.
Okay, now we have to. So just like if he gets a 10-day contract, does that count? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Plays a year in the NBA.
Gotcha.
Oh, yeah, that 10-day would have to turn into a guaranteed contract.
Be great in Europe or China or wherever he goes and plays, and he'll do really well. I'll tell you what, does anybody like Kim Mulkey as much as Kim Mulkey?
Oh, no.
Wow. I love it. NBC can get Rory and Scheffler in the final, and they get Burns and Young.
I know. What did Scheffler have? Like a 3.5 footer on the second extra hole to win it?
15 seconds. And yeah, ambient. It wasn't for him blowing out his hip.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Dusty May, the head coach of Final Four bound FAU, will join us in the 8 o'clock hour. How about the Canes? Giving FAU their love. Let's give the Canes their love.
How about it?
They're down 8 to Drake with under 5 minutes to play in the first round. They finished that game on a 16-1 run. They're down 10 to Texas with a little under 9 minutes to go. They rip off a 13-2 run to take the lead and then say, I know you're not going away, but we'll take it from here. Thanks. Mark, they shot 59% in the win.
Jordan Miller didn't miss.
No, he did not. He pulled
Didn't
a Leitner.
miss.
Pulled a Leitner. Pulled a Leitner. Yep. And the Canes hardly missed from the free throw line. Man, oh man.
Actually, I don't think they missed until they had a stretch there where they made so many in a row, and then when it was a 6-point lead and they got fouled, he missed the first one before making the second.
Right, with less than 10 seconds to go in the game. But
right
when the game was to be had there, they just kept stepping in the line and knocking them down.
Isaiah Wong had 2 points in the first half. Also.
Correct.
Scored 10 in the second half and was making NBA caliber mid-range jump shots.
That's the other thing. Texas said to Miami, listen, you're going to have to beat us old school. We're taking the 3 away. You're not even going to be able to shoot them. That's how suffocating we're going to be from beyond the arc. All right? You're going to have to shoot all the shots that you're not supposed to shoot anymore. You know, the mid-range jumper.
David, they attempted 8 3-pointers for the game.
Made 0 in the second half also.
Texas said, listen, you're going to have to – here's your analytics right here, okay? We're taking away the 3. You're going to have to beat us shooting. You know, there was a guy once upon a time, I heard he was pretty good, Michael Jordan. You're going to have to pull a Jordan. You're going to have to beat us from between 15 and 18 feet. Got it? And they went, oh, okay.
And then they don't really miss a free throw.
Nope. That's after their performance against Houston. I thought Nance was going to cry, by the way, Friday. I thought there was a moment in the first 10 minutes of the second half. I thought Jim was going to cry. I thought he rallied pretty good the final 10 minutes, you know, giving Miami their due and the whole deal, you know. But I thought there was a moment with about 13, 14 minutes to go, which I thought he was going to cry.
I have to be honest, I had the game on, but I couldn't handle the Nance crying. So I think at that point I might have been at San Diego State, Alabama with the volume, because you are right. He just kind of didn't know what to do there.
Well, now you and I liked Miami against Houston. We liked it a month ago. We said they're going to play Purdue or Houston in the Sweet 16. We thought they were going to be a 4 seed. They ended up getting a 5. We said they're going to be a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. This is not as a 1 seed who you want to play. So we love the matchup, the whole thing. We love the points. I love the money line. Okay. We were all in on Miami. When I saw the video Friday morning of Nance at the Houston shoot-around, and Kelvin Sampson brought the team in, and Nance goes in with them, and puts, his fist in, touching hands. And I think that their chant, 1, 2, 3, hello friends, I think was what and when I saw the video of that, I said, oh, Miami's going to drill them. Right then and there I saw it. I said, oh, this is over. Can I max out a credit card on this? I cannot tell you how much I love the Canes tonight. Nance at the Houston shoot around? Are you serious? Going all in with the team? Oh, that's it. This run is over. I don't know if Larinaga and the Canes got a hold of that video. I would have showed that video before the game. Guys, this is what we're up against today. I don't know what the officiating is going to be like, but I'll just let you know what the announcing is going to be like. Look.
And he had to deal with getting whacked.
That baby was over. Houston made their run, cut it to 2. Miami said, that's cute. That really is. We haven't been paying attention the last couple of minutes. We're going to go back to spreading you out, and you can't guard us. Best defense in the country, my blank. Not one of you guys can guard one of our guys.
And they got it done from outside the arc in that game. I mean, think about the contrast in ways they win. They kill it with the threes against Houston and don't make one virtually.
Hell, they don't even shoot one. By the way, and it's not just because, friend of the show and, we're happy for the Florida schools and all that. Larinaga looks like a college professor when he just gets up. He's still in good shape. He's, you could, if he wore a shirt and a tie, wouldn't it be the college professor in front of the class? You're taking midterms. He's just slowly pacing back and forth and sit down. Kind of hang out. Every now and then he takes out a little piece of paper. I thought he was pulling a Mike Leach. Every now and then he reaches in. He's got his bar napkin he looks at. And then he folds it and puts it back in his pocket. I'm like, look at this. He's pulling a Leach.
I love the fact that you talked about it. For the most part, not a lot of timeouts. Even in the Texas games, we've had Coach L on enough now that he talks about his players. When he took that timeout down 10, I started watching. Who was talking? Not Larinaga at the beginning of the timeout. It's all the players. What he's talked about, how he's turned them into leaders from listening to him talk on our show, listening to some of the post-game pressers, and then watching a little differently at breaks. That team leads itself.
Post-game also, Larinaga said, listen, I didn't have to say anything to these guys. These guys did the talking. They reminded those who weren't here last year, let me tell you what it feels like to lose in the Elite Eight. It sucks. It's awful. Lose anywhere else but the Elite Eight. And the Canes player said when they were down 10 and what have you in the second half, they just looked at one another like, this is not happening again. No. We're getting past this round. It's like, well, you guys are going to have to go about 8 minutes missing one shot. Okay, whatever it takes.
That's what it takes. We've got it.
Got it. Okay. It means you, big fella, are going to have to put you back in with 4 fouls, 9 minutes to go. Can't pick up your 5th. Got it? Okay. I'll grab every defensive board, too.
And then they call him for it and take the foul away.
That's when it's your year. That's when it's like, wow, we're going to the Final Four.
That's when Canes fan had to say, wait a minute. They're not going to zebra us today. Holy cow.
Wait, we thought the NCAA hates us and everything. They're doing what?
It was the right call.
Could have been a no call. I don't know about reversing it, giving the Texas player the foul, to be brutally honest with you, but it could have been a no call. But either way, Miami gets the benefit of the doubt. They take down Houston on Friday. They take down Texas yesterday. A 1 and a 2, and now
And
they're
now
in the
they're-
Final Four.
In Texas. They own the state. UConn's in trouble. They just don't know it.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Thought it was interesting that Michigan had to go to the Allentown Regional in hockey and take on Penn State in a road game.
Mm-hmm. KW Ken Palm's been around a long time.
For 20 years.
Easy.
Oh, I'm pulling for that one. It'd be no loser. I just want to see it happen. Correct. God, we've mentioned it on this show before, KW. We've said Ken Palm on this show in the last month 10 times, I bet you. In all seriousness.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that Auto Trader has millions of new.
The stage is set, Ambient. One step closer. Ooh. That's interesting. I mean, if that's true, I believe you, but that's interesting. First time with no McDonald's All-Americans in the Final Four since the NCAA started seeding in 1979. Wow.
It's also the first time no one seeds in the Elite Eight since 79.
10 seconds.
To think not even a 1, 2, or 3 in the Final Four.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks so much for starting this final week of March off with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dusty May, the head coach of the Final Four bound Owls of FAU, to join us coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Do want to remind you, Thursday, opening day, Major League Baseball will be in St. Pete. And you could be there too. Rays and Tigers, opening day. You want tickets? Text us. Send Rays, R-A-Y-S, keyword, Rays to 21,000. 21000. That's it. That's all you got to do. And at least one of you is going to win tickets. Man, I know we got 2. Hell, we might even have 4. So text us. We're giving them away Wednesday morning. Games Thursday afternoon. So send Rays, R-A-Y-S, to 21,000, and you could win. Opening day, Thursday. Miller and Moulton, live in St. Pete. Outside of Ferg's. It's a little
In
too
the
early.
dark.
Yeah, right, for an hour and a half. People are going to be driving by going, "What? Who are those 2 guys? Why are they yelling? Shut up. It's 6 a.m. Goodness sakes." 20 minutes before the hour. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
after FAU on Saturday. How about Miami on Sunday? Down 10 with 8.5 to play. No problem. They go on a 13-2 run to take the lead. Hit all their free throws down the stretch. Miami 88, Texas 81. First time in school history, the Canes in the Final Four. Jordan Miller with 27 points. He was literally perfect. 7 of 7 from the field, 13 of 13 from the line. Miami shot 59% in the win. The Canes will meet UConn in the nightcap of the Final Four doubleheader. That's because it'll be FAU against San Diego State in the opener. San Diego State, the beneficiary of a controversial foul call with 1.2 seconds left. Darian Trammell hit the free throw, the second of two, to give San Diego State the 57-56 win over Creighton. The Aztecs go to their first ever Final Four. 3 of the 4 teams in the Final Four for the first time. San Diego State held Creighton to 2 for 17 mark from 3. That's after holding Alabama to like 3 for 27.
Both Florida teams are dogs in the Final Four. We'll get into that later on, but San Diego State opens as a 1.5-point favorite. Connecticut a 5.5-point favorite in the 2 national semifinal games.
FAU 35 wins, including 11 in a row. And they're a dog once again. Love the Owls and the points. Love them. They'll play the first game a little after 6 o'clock on Saturday in Houston. By the way, it's a 4, 2 5s, and a 9 in the Final Four. But if you take a look at the final AP and coaches poll, top 25, all 4 of these teams were ranked. According to the AP, UConn was 10th. Coaches poll had them 12th. Miami was 16 in the AP, 15 in the coaches. San Diego State was 18 in both. FAU was 25th in both. So I know FAU 9 seed, they're FAU. I know they, fit the Cinderella moniker, but if a top 25 team makes the Final Four, are they a Cinderella? Just a question. That's all. You can answer it yourself. No wrong answers. Miami, by the way, a 5.5-point dog against UConn, who's already been given the national title, according to most media members in the Northeast. Women's hoops, Miami's run came to an end in the Elite Eight. They couldn't put the ball in the ocean if they were standing in it yesterday against LSU. That's a problem. They shot 15 threes, Mark. You know how many they made? 0. Bupkis, right. 0 for 15 from 3. Oh, by the way, LSU shot 26 free throws to Miami's 9. That's a problem. 54-42. Kim Mulkey, her second year at LSU after leaving Baylor. She's got the Tigers in the Final Four. She's very quiet about it, too. Understated.
Really gracious.
Yes. All right, not taking
Not
any
about
credit.
her at all. It's about the team.
In fact, Will Levis talking about Will Levis or Kim Mulkey talking about the job she did at LSU?
I'll take LeBron close, but I get your point.
Why? Just because he said, that he went to LeBron of foot doctors?
Yes, and the foot doctor credited him with having the best recovery of anybody who's ever recovered from this foot injury.
Dude, you're one of the 3 greatest of all time. Just chill. Jordan didn't walk around telling everybody he was the greatest of all time. He let everybody do it for him. Relax. So LSU's in the Final Four, as are the Hawkeyes of Iowa. First time in 30 years for Iowa. If you have not seen Caitlin Clark play, please do so before she's done playing in the Final Four. 41 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists yesterday for Iowa. 41, 10, and 12 in their 14-point win over Louisville.
Because when she makes a step back 3, you go, wow, she's really good. And then when she makes a no-look, one-bounce pass 30 feet on stride to someone cutting to the basket, you go, oh, so she can pass too.
First 40, 10, and 10 game in men or women's NCAA tournament history.
And she did it in an Elite Eight. Kind of an important game. Once again, 41 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists. She is worth the price of admission. She really is. Maryland taking on undefeated South Carolina tonight. And then Ohio State and Vatech. How about the Buckeyes? Knocking off UConn. UConn had made like 14 straight Final Fours, 16 straight Elite Eights. Buckeyes over the weekend said, that's coming to an end. First ever Elite Eight on the women's side, Mark, without UConn, Tennessee, or Stanford. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they're they don't have the parity that the men's game has. In fact, I forget who it was. I think it was Brenda Freese of Maryland who said we're 25 years behind the men's game in terms of the parity and what have you. And I would say at least. But, it's a start. NBA, Orlando beat Brooklyn, which is good news for the Heat. By the way, Brooklyn pounded the Heat on Saturday, if you missed it. And so Brooklyn and Miami are tied.
Pounded the
Yes.
Heat on Saturday.
On Udonis Haslem night.
Please.
Quite the night too,
So does that mean like it's senior citizen night? What is Udonis Haslem night?
Well-
So anyway, both teams have 7 games left. They're tied. Nets own the tiebreaker for what it's worth. So right now, Brooklyn would be the 6, Miami would be the 7. If Miami is in the play-in, there's some debate now as to who they're going to play. We thought it was going to be Atlanta. Well, Atlanta and Toronto are now tied for the 8. Atlanta lost to Memphis yesterday. Toronto beat Washington. LeBron, just the second time he's ever come off the bench in an NBA game. He scored 19 points off the bench. Looked pretty good. Problem is the Bulls are on a roll. Won their 6th straight on the road. They beat the Lakers by 10. Chicago now firmly in the play-in the East. Lakers, with the loss, fall back to tied for 9th. A game ahead of Dallas, who right now wouldn't even make the play-in. Mavs have lost 4 in a row. They lost to Charlotte yesterday. Luka got a 16th technical, so he's suspended for their upcoming game. I think it's tonight. The Mavs are a mess. Boston, Cleveland, OKC, and Minnesota also winners yesterday. Minnesota went into Golden State and beat the Warriors 99-96. They're a half a game behind Golden State for the 6th seed, but I think the T-Wolves own the tiebreaker on Golden State. So just keep that in mind. NHL, Bruins keep winning. Beat Carolina in a shootout 4-3. Colorado, same score over Arizona. Vancouver, Toronto, and the Kings also victorious. 9 games to play, Mark. The Panthers are 3 points behind Pittsburgh for the final playoff spot. Panthers in Ottawa tonight. Every game feels like a must-win for the Panthers the rest of the way. 3 points back, 9 to play against the Penguins. The Frozen Four is set in Tampa. It's a week from Thursday. First day of the Masters is also the first day of the Frozen Four. Returning to Tampa, we think it should be there every year. College baseball goes to Omaha. College hockey should go to Tampa.
Every damn year.
They do the best job. The fans are most excited about going. It'll be BU against Minnesota, Michigan against Quinnipiac. You think those 4 fan bases will hate Tampa the first Thursday of the month?
I just saw a stat. It's Michigan's 27th Frozen Four. That's the most all time. I just wouldn't, you would think a Minnesota or a Boston school would have that, not the University of Michigan.
Michigan beat Penn State in overtime to advance to the Frozen Four. NASCAR, Tyler Reddick led 41 of the 75 laps at the Circuit of Americas in Austin, Texas. He won the race. Kyle Busch second. Alex Bowman third, Ross Chastain fourth. Chastain yet to win this year, yet he leads the point race by 19 over Kyle Busch. Also in Austin, the final Dell Match Play event. It's funny. They got a big-time sponsor. Everybody loves the course, and the players like the event. And yet the PGA Tour canceled it. They nearly got the dream final. Rory against Scheffler. Scheffler, the defending champ. Well, both Rory and Scheffler lost in extra holes in the semifinals, so they ended up playing for third place. Rory won it. The final, I'll tell you, this is a real toe tapper. Sam Burns and Cam Young. And Burns beat him like a rented mule, 6-5. Matt Wallace, by the way, they had a PGA Tour event in Punta Cana. Since only 64 guys are invited to the match play, Matt Wallace won that. The LPGA's first full field event of the year was this weekend. It was the Drive On Championship. Celine Boutier had a birdie 18 to get in the playoffs. She made an 8-footer to do so. Then in the playoffs, she birdied 18 again to beat Georgia Hall. Baseball news, Yankees are going to go with their top prospect at shortstop, Anthony Volpe. He's 21.
Well, he better hit really well because they don't have any starting pitching to start the season.
Yeah, they're all hurt, except for Garrett Cole.
I know.
Volpe, by the way, bringing back memories of a certain someone. He's from Jersey. He's 21, first-round pick. You may have heard of somebody like that. His name was Derek Jeter. So, they're making the comparisons. No pressure on the kid or anything. No, you're comparing him to Derek Jeter, for goodness sakes. Could he play a game first? Rays are optimistic. Their shortstop, Wander Franco, is going to be able to play opening day against Detroit. His right quad injury is apparently getting better. A reminder, we'll be in St. Pete Thursday. You could be too. Send RAYS, RAYS, to 21,000, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win opening day tickets in the Trop. By the way, the Phillies broke off negotiations with their second-best pitcher, Aaron Nola. The 29-year-old is going to make $16 million this year, but the two sides could not agree on a long-term contract. But they all love one another, and they're going to, talk again when the season's over. Right. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to get paid. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
And one footnote, gentlemen, Florida's dominance of college basketball is not just a D1 thing.
No, it is not. I caught a little bit of that game on Saturday.
The Sharks from Nova Southeastern won their first ever national championship, capping off a 36-0 season, beating the number 2 team in the country 111-101. So there. By the way, Dusty May, who will be on the show in the 8 o'clock hour, admitted they scrimmaged Nova Southeastern before the season started. And he said, when we beat them, I knew we were good.
That game was, I have watched a bit of that. It was chippy. Player got thrown out for a flagrant 2. I mean, it was like, what the hell's going on? They don't play a lot of defense in Division II basketball.
Really? 111-101 in regulation? That it was. Score 100 in regulation and lose by double digits. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Where else? Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Felipe, in all seriousness, do you have both Lavica
Yes.
and Zagacki?
Yes.
Okay. I'm assuming that you need some time with these.
Yeah,
That they're longer.
One is 33 seconds, one is 40 seconds.
Okay.
And they're both tremendous. Kenergy.
Do Lavica first.
Do you want to do Lavica, talk about it, and then do Zagacki, or just one
Yes.
after the other?
Yeah. No. We'll
Yeah.
do Lavica and talk about the story, and they were off the air, and right.
All right, gotcha.
Now, Ohio State got beat. DTW. Ohio State got beat.
By Quinnipiac.
Right. Now, you could get a Michigan, Minnesota. If Michigan makes the final, then, because either BU or Minnesota will both be represented. Even the announcer, I watched some college hockey this weekend. Every single announcer who was pumping the Frozen Four was raving about it being back in Tampa.
$30 seconds.
Don't you think the Lightning would sign up for that every year, and just
I don't know.
Just say to their parent team, I don't know what to tell you. First week of April, we're on the road. I know it's late in the regular season, but
here we go.
I mean, you could play a home game Tuesday, you could play a home game Sunday if you had to, but.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton here, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The show that told you over a month ago Miami was a Final Four team. Now, we didn't say FAU was a Final Four team. We said they were an at-large team. They should get in. We liked them against Memphis. But Miami and FAU becoming the 4th and 5th Florida schools to ever make it to the Final Four, joining the Gators, the Noles, and Artis Gilmore's Jacksonville Dolphins from the early 70s, who lost in the title game to John Wooden and UCLA.
The Canes just have continued to impress me by how they do it. And I think both schools, as you mentioned earlier, Memphis was up late on FAU. Drake was up late on Miami. Texas was up 13 on Miami in the second half.
And 10 with under 9 minutes to play when panic could start to set in. FAU was in trouble against K-State. Didn't you think in the second half that there was a moment in which you went, guys, you need to turn this around here?
100%. There were a couple times in that game Saturday night that looked like K-State was about to take over.
Yeah, I thought K-State was like a couple different possessions. I thought they were a 3 away from going, uh-oh. I don't know if FAU is going to. If they score here, I think FAU is in big trouble. And then they did it again. Did you see the rebounding numbers in that game? No. I mean, this is shocking. This is shocking. Listen, FAU out-rebounded Tennessee by 4. I mean, this is the thing. We've talked about this for years. It doesn't get talked about enough. The NCAA tournament is about toughness on the court and mentally and emotionally handling the duress that you're going to be under.
It's quite frankly why they got away with turning the ball over so much.
Yes.
Because they turned it over an inordinate number of times in that game.
Wasn't it like 22 or something like that?
Yeah. I'm going to give you just these numbers, 16 to 12 in rebounds, because the 12 is FAU's offensive rebounds for the game. The 16 is the total number of K-State rebounds for the game. The final rebounding numbers were 41 to 16. 41.
They out-rebounded. Okay, and the numbers I have in front of me are 44 and 22, which I think counts all the dead ball rebounds and what have you. But the FAU out-rebounds a Big 12 team by over 20. They killed them on the glass, and particularly down the stretch.
And it was team rebounding to the ball. Everybody was rebounding.
And that's why, I don't want to move on too quickly, but it's why I like them against San Diego State. Everybody's going to talk about how physical San Diego State is, and they are. But FAU is tough. They out-rebounded Tennessee. They humiliated Kansas State on the glass. Humiliated them. Did you see the K-State coach, by the way, Tang? All right. Now, he didn't do it to get on camera. There was an FAU camera in the locker room. And this happens a lot. You'd be surprised how many losing coaches go over and congratulate the winners. And Jerome Tang, the head coach of K-State, went over and he said to the FAU guys, listen, you can win the whole thing. You're the toughest team we've played all year. He played in the Big 12.
Right.
And he looked at those guys and said, yeah, you're the toughest sons of guns we've played all year. That's because he watched the Battle of the Boards for 40 minutes when, man, we got killed. They also hit free throws down the stretch. Pressure free throws. Up 1, under a minute to go, having to go to the line. Free throws. Where you miss one, you're thinking we could lose on a 3. Uh-oh.
Still would have fouled, for the record.
Yeah.
I was yelling foul at the end of the game, driving my wife crazy. Foul him. Foul him. Don't let him shoot.
When they went the last time in particular, when Noel passed the ball at 4 seconds, I literally was, and the K-State player caught it in front of his own bench. I'm like, foul him. Just foul him. I mean, they did something better. It's why they're going to the Final Four. And, I'm a middle-aged guy yelling at a television. They just ripped the ball out of his hand and stole it. But how about also the symmetry? First guy that Dusty May recruited 5 years ago, Michael Forrest. His first recruit. Who's going to the line with under 20 seconds to go, up 1, not once, but twice, and hits all 4 free throws? Michael Forrest. I'm telling you, you come up with something better than sports, knock yourself out. I'm sorry. There is nothing better than sports in life. There isn't. There isn't. I'm sorry. There's nothing. Don't tell me about family and loved ones. I'm telling you, there's nothing better than sports. Being the lead singer in a rock and roll band for a night, yes. Over 365 days, I'll still take sports.
Kicking family to the curb.
I'm not kicking him to the curb.
No. He's just taking sports ahead of family. That's
Okay.
all.
Here's the deal. I had a glorious Saturday. I really did. Okay. It's part of the reason why we got up and we moved from Southwest Florida. I'm now around my daughter, my granddaughter. Had a glorious day. Glorious day. Had 3 hours with just my daughter that I haven't had in a long time. It was, honestly, it's one of those special days. Okay. My heart is full. And then I watched FAU go to the Final Four, and I'm screaming and yelling at the TV.
Oh, it was a righteous weekend.
And for as full as my heart was with my daughter, the greater high, watching FAU go to the Final Four. It was.
And see, my daughter's heart was full because I was smart enough to allow her on Saturday to have a sleepover with a friend, so I didn't have to deal with anything. 2 kids could play their hearts out. Stay up as late as you want. I don't care. There's basketball on.
Now you're thinking. I slotted my watching session with nap time, so I did not nap, but everyone else napped. I tried very hard not to scream. Eventually, I couldn't contain myself and woke everyone up.
See,
but I don't care.
This is the point we're making. Would we take a bullet for our family? Yes. Would I take a bullet for the Canes and FAU basketball teams? No, I would not. Okay. But greater high. Oh, FAU and Miami going to the Final Four. I'm sorry. They don't outrank them, but for the moment,
Mark, you've seen your team go to the Final Four. I've never experienced this before. Your team is going to the Final Four. This is some euphoria I've never even conceived in my life. I love this tournament.
I didn't realize your alma mater was going to the Final Four.
I know.
Oh, right.
FGCU is going to the Final Four?
No, actually, they're not.
Oh,
the University
okay.
of Miami is.
Okay.
Yeah, they did it for my city. I'm speaking like Pitbull right now.
That is the other glorious thing about sports. I mean, 2 things have just happened that, first off, we don't know how many fans FAU had. Okay. But they certainly didn't think this was possible. The players were being interviewed going, when you signed up at FAU, and I forget who it was. It might have been Forrest. He said, I envision winning a conference championship, but cutting down the nets to go to the Final Four? No, never envisioned that.
Can't even think it. I mean, come on. You're FAU. Never in the time that you went to school. They're like they said, a conference championship. How big would that be? Getting to the tournament. How big is that?
Only the second time they've ever made it. They never won a game.
Get a number 1 knocked out so you get to the Sweet 16. Every single thing has broken in their direction, and they've taken advantage of every single one. They had great play against Tennessee, great play against Kansas State.
And they did the job on Keontae Johnson that no one else had done this year. You know, there were things that FAU did wrong, but they made sure that Kansas State was not the two-headed monster. Michigan State could not slow down both Noel and Keontae Johnson. FAU got Keontae in foul trouble and kept him there, and he ended up scoring only 9 points. He goes for his normal 18 to 20 with Noel scoring 30. FAU probably loses.
Because we all knew the big fella, Golden, is that his name for FAU, would have the game he had.
Right.
That's what we were expecting.
I will say FAU is an analytics dream. They're top 40 in the country on offense. They're top 40 in the country on defense. And they're like top 15 in the country in 2-point defense. I'm telling you, I love their matchup against the Aztecs. I'm just going to stop there.
Average age of FAU, somewhere around 22. Average age of San Diego State, 36.
Right. Right. In fact, we thought LeBron was coming off the bench for the Aztecs yesterday, not the Lakers.
By the way, I love the FAU out of bounds play with all 5 guys lining up.
The route running.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Something a little different.
How do you defend it?
I don't know. You know who doesn't know either? Kansas State.
Yeah, well, you know somebody's stopping and coming back and running the button hook. You just don't know which one of the 4. That really is playing Nerf ball in the parking lot, isn't it? 2 guys on each side. Okay, 2 of you run the post, 1 of you run across, the other one come and run the dig.
Miller and Moulton. FAU and Miami in the Final Four. We are a basketball state.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Who's had a tougher road to the Final Four? FAU or Miami?
Miami.
I think so.
Well, I mean, they played a 1 and a 2.
Yeah. David, tougher road to the Final Four, FAU or Miami?
Miami.
I agree.
Miami had to beat a 1, a 2, and a 4.
Damon Amendolar tweeted out that Jim Larinaga, if Boeheim had a younger, much nicer brother.
Johnny Mac, here's why I think the Jets have a little more leverage than most people think. Packers want picks in this draft. And if you're the Jets, whatever your offer is, just hold tight. Green Bay is going to want picks in this year's draft. And so if you're the Jets, you could threaten to just hold out beyond the draft. That would suck for Green Bay. Because in theory, the Jets are going to be better and their picks won't be as good beginning in 24 and 25. So I mean, the Jets have picks 13, 41, and 42, I think. Johnny, it's not even April yet. Favre didn't get traded till like August 7th. Well, average Vikings fan, that'll win you a bracket. I just wish it was a bigger bracket.
Wow. Miami is 75 of 93 from the line in the tournament. That's 81%.
That helps. Rebounding, free throws, make your layups. You win. Basketball. Ten seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour Dusty May, the head coach of FAU, will join us next hour here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hey, speaking of FAU, did you hear about the bet? So apparently, when FAU got that winning streak going, because they started it, I think, against the Gators in mid-November, and they didn't lose until mid-January. So, they got, in fact, they might not have lost till early February. So the winning streak's picking up steam. It's like 8 or so in a row. And somebody put FAU in Vegas up on the Final Four board for the first time. 400-1 to make the Final Four. Oh, okay. How much money, if you saw that, would you go, I don't know,
25, $50.
Okay. Some better put $500 on it.
Nice.
That's $200,000. Thank you very much. 400-1.
And that's just to the Final Four, right? That's a cash ticket.
It's just for by the way, Selection Sunday. Selection Sunday. You know what their odds were? To win the whole thing. To win the whole thing.
2,500 to 1, I thought I saw.
Well,
or did I miss a zero?
I think you missed a zero.
25,000 to 1.
Okay. Now, you take the 2 zeros off. So, like, Texas was 14-1 to win the championship. Of the teams that made the Elite Eight, Texas actually had the best odds. They were 14-1 to win the championship. UConn was 18-1. San Diego State, 60-1. Miami, 50-1. Florida Atlantic to win the championship, Selection Sunday, 200-1.
Absolutely remarkable. Because we always knew Florida was a basketball state.
A basketball state? Mark, it's a basketball home. Hell, move the Hall of Fame, for goodness sakes. What's it doing up in the Northeast? Please, Kansas, the home of basketball. Whatever. I don't want to hear it. We could have the D1 and D2 champions, please. Getting a little carried away. Sorry.
You are getting a little carried away.
A little bit.
They're both underdogs in their next game.
I understand. One of them's winning. I can guarantee you that.
But, could you imagine if they both win?
I'll tell you what. You know who's not rooting for that? CBS. You don't think CBS is rooting hard for UConn, do you?
Oh, badly.
Hard for UConn. Heck, it wasn't this year. They didn't play this year, but they played at the beginning of last season, Miami and FAU. They played at FAU. It was a 2-point game. FAU missed like 14 free throws. Lost by 2 at home. Larinagas played Dusty May 3 times. 2 times in Miami. He played him in Boca. He did a 2-for-1 with FAU.
And now they got a neutral site game. They're going to play in Houston perhaps next week.
Yeah. And maybe a week from tonight, they'll play a neutral site game. Did you hear what happened to our buddy Ken LaVicka? The voice of FAU?
It almost went terribly wrong for Ken LaVicka.
17 years. He's followed FAU football and basketball all around the country. They're at Madison Square Garden. They're trying to hold off K-State. We're under a minute to play. And the first row of media across from the benches loses their internet connection. He's knocked off the air with a minute to go in the region final. FAU about to have their greatest moment ever. He scurries. He's got a guy who works at his West Palm Beach station sitting behind him. Second row apparently still had internet. He looks over. He says, "Give me your cord." He extends the cord out. Apparently the guy from West Palm held the piece of equipment out to shorten the distance. He plugs the cord into his machine. The guy's holding the machine in the air so Levicka can get back on the air and call this.
Kansas State doesn't have any timeouts. The inbound from Sills. Here comes Noel up the near side, left front court. 3 seconds now, 2. Noel throws it Masood. High right. It's stripped away by Davis. He's stolen. Florida Atlantic is going to the Final Four. One of the most improbable stories in college basketball history has just played out in New York City. Houston, you have a problem. Florida Atlantic is coming to town looking for a trophy. Florida Atlantic 79, Kansas State 76. FAU is going to the Final Four.
Ken Levicka, voice of FAU. The final call of the Owls making it to the Final Four. That's part of our Clutch Vodka play of the day. What else do you got for us, Felipe?
I think you know what else I have. Joe Zagacki, Kane's voice.
Luga puts it up there. Got it! 88-81 Miami. 4 seconds to go. Carr across the timeline. Lets it fly. It's no good. And it's all over. There's a wild celebration. It's history. The University of Miami has made history. They're going to the Final Four for the first time in school history. They're jumping up and down. It's a wild celebration. Miami to the Final Four. The Miami Hurricanes make history.
88-81. The 5 seed in the Midwest, the 9 seed in the East. That's how we roll. That's how we roll.
Basketball State!
Only because they're forced. That is the one side of this. If you took every Miami fan right now and put the truth serum in them, they would give this Final Four up in a heartbeat to have the football team back, and you know that.
I'm a basketball fan. You're
not
that
even. Here's the thing. All year long, you're a Miami Heat fan. You haven't said 2 words about Canes basketball all year.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. Miami, couple ACC regular
yeah, I'm
season
aware of
champions.
that. I know you can recite what happened, but I've sat next to you for the last 6 months.
They beat the Sox out of Duke. They beat Duke by 20 at home.
David, help me out here. Where does Canes basketball rank in his fandom?
Well, Heat basketball is number 1.
Right.
And then I would put Canes football ahead of Canes basketball.
Okay, you missed the Dolphins.
Well, yes, I did.
At best, it's your 4th favorite team. At best, I would say the Marlins are ahead of Canes basketball. Though I sit here with you every day. You're bordering on bandwagon. I know you love Canes. I know you love Canes, but you're not a Canes basketball fan.
Now you've lost it. I've been going to Canes games since the Sheldon McClellan days.
I will say, Felipe, I think you're above bandwagon. I will support you on that. But the Canes are at the bottom of your top 5 fandom.
I don't know. Well, not today, because you've changed it all over, because you've jumped squarely on.
Even today, Felipe, they're no better than 3rd. You have to acknowledge that. They're behind the Heat and the Dolphins.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm more disgusted with you calling me a bandwagon than I was after Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, that's ridiculous. Anthony Walker's girlfriend is my friend from high school, and he's been there for 4 years now.
Read the screen.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Read the screen again.
That one would say that. I'm reading it.
I know.
Oh, Mark is telling the truth. Ooh.
You're more of a fan of the World Baseball Classic than you are Miami basketball.
I'm pretty sure that I mentioned Canes basketball last year. Before the tournament. I mean, seriously, I witnessed Bruce Brown get the third triple-double in Canes history. I couldn't believe it. Only 3 times that happened when he did it.
I got you. You're the biggest Miami basketball fan on the planet.
The one thing I will say, do you know how easy it will be to get tickets to this Final Four?
Oh, I know.
Especially for the championship game, when all the coaches will have left town and 2 of the 4 fan bases.
4 coaches will get killed. How much money are they going to lose on the tickets they planned on scalping?
They'll be lucky they won't get face value for their tickets.
Oh my gosh, because that's right, the coaches get tickets.
Coaches get free tickets.
And they just sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I looked up tickets. I think the cheapest ticket you can get for the national championship game right now is like $150. That is not bad.
Wait until first off, Felipe, I'll bet you Saturday it might be a little sketchy, but I still think at tip you could probably get in the building for $20.
No way.
Felipe, that place will not be sold out.
It is a football stadium. That's true. Yeah, they won't sell out.
Do you really think San Diego State, Miami, or FAU is going to fill up their ticket allotment?
No.
I mean, when 3 of the Final Four schools will not sell their allotted tickets, never mind for Monday. And if it's Miami, if Miami beats UConn, oh my God. I'll be honest. CBS may have trouble. Like, they may have to tell people to like move down. That place could be half empty Monday night.
That sucks though, because it really is a great story. I think first-time champions. I know they want UConn to win, but come on.
Well, it's just a matter of butts in the seats. I mean, UConn is the biggest fan base.
Yeah, I get it.
Wallach has been tweeting out just a storm here about Snyder's failure to cooperate in an investigation and how this could hurt players. We might want to get him on this week.
10 seconds.
Okay.
Something.
Johnny Mac.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dusty May will join us next hour, the men's basketball coach at FAU. FAU in Miami. Joining San Diego State, all 3 schools in their first ever Final Four. A 4, 2 5s, and a 9. After last year, we had Duke, Carolina, Kansas, and Villanova. I think it's what makes this tournament great. A lot of people complaining about this Final Four, and they want last year's Final Four instead. Come on, this isn't going to happen every year. It's not going to happen every 3rd year. It's not going to happen every 13th year. I mean, come on.
It's not going to happen again for quite a while. This is a combination of COVID, of one and dones, of some really old teams. It was a perfect storm, and no great teams this year in college basketball.
And we talked about it during the season, and we're wrong about a lot of things, but we said this year of all years is the year where we could have a tournament like this. I mean, come on, the people who cover the sport for a living were like, there's no difference between Team 15 and Team 50. Really, there's not much of a difference. Get the right matchup, one team more experienced than the other. I mean, listen, FAU trailed in the first round with under 10 seconds to play, and Memphis had the ball. And FAU got out of it. Forced a turnover, ran a great inbounds play, guy drove to the basket, hit a running shot. They won by 1. Instead of playing a 1 seed in the next round, they played a 16. Then they go to the Sweet 16. Who do they face? A flawed team in Tennessee, who some days just can't shoot. And by some days, we mean days that end in Y. And then they get K-State in the final. Well, hell, they can play with K-State. K-State's ranked like 18th in the country. FAU's ranked 25th. Let's go. Can I just sidebar here for a second?
Sure.
And those that have listened to us for many years know that going back 10 years when FGCU went to the Sweet 16, and I used to be a local sports writer at the time, and I said, listen, somebody east of the Rockies has to become the Gonzaga of college basketball. Somebody. And so I was like, well, why not FGCU? Now, Wichita State's had a nice run over the last 20 years. Haven't been able to keep it up lately. But, they had a good 10-year run. VCU's had a really nice 12-year period here. I mean, they really have. But if you think about it, Mark, there has not been another Gonzaga anywhere else in the country. What San Diego State's doing is they're a program. They're 12 years now. They've made the tournament damn near every year. This is the first time they've ever had a tournament run, but they're a mid-major who's basically made the tournament every year for 10 or so years. And it begs the question, now, because Mark Dusty May looks like is not getting another job. I mean, Penn State's promoting, I think, the VCU guy they're hiring today. And apparently South Florida's, narrowed it down to 2 or 3 other people. I mean, there's nowhere for Dusty May to go. He's coming back with this team next year at FAU.
With all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, now there's chances that guys could jump, literally after a Final Four, a guy could jump in the portal and go to a bigger school if he wanted.
Yeah, could.
It exists.
Yeah. I mean, I have to admit, if I'm FAU, I asked Larinaga, hey, do you guys mind if we call John Ruiz? Okay, just looking for a little something just to keep this together for another year.
One more year. I need a little nerd wallet money.
Yeah, come on. No? All right. No, thanks. But, I mean, because now everybody's predicting this is the end of Gonzaga, which I find hysterical. Seriously? Just
why? Because they got whooped by Connecticut?
And because Timmy
is
leading.
Everybody coming down the street. I mean, Connecticut's just beating the tar out of everybody in this tournament.
Right. They've made I don't know. What's it? 8 straight Sweet 16s, and 4 of the last 5 years they've gone to the Elite 8. But now because Timmy's leaving, well, that's it. This will be the end of Gonzaga. They're never going to be. Are you serious? Have you been paying attention? They live on transfers, by the way. This is the time to be living on transfers. If there was ever a time, the 2020s is the time. Digress. And so it begs the question, though. Hey, if Dusty May can't go anywhere, and they'll triple his salary, he'll go from $500,000 to probably 1.5. And, I mean, think about how this started at Gonzaga.
Think about that just for a second. I mean, if you're right, that they would take him to a level of pay like that at FAU.
Yeah.
They're going to have to really increase student fees to the athletic department next year to pay for that.
Well, it's just, hey, we got something to go to now besides 6 football games. Let's go. Got about 18 home basketball games. Let's go.
That first one will have a great crowd.
But this is how Gonzaga happened, by the way. The difference was Dan Monson, Few wasn't the coach when they went to the Elite 8 in 99. Dan Monson was. And he took the Minnesota job. Huge mistake. Ruined his career. Mark Few was his top assistant. He moved over. The rest is history. Well, Dusty's not going anywhere. There's no job for him to go to. And so they're going to keep him. And Mark Few, the very next year, does what? Gonzaga goes to the tournament. By the way, when this whole thing started, do you know what type of arena Gonzaga was playing in? Only slightly bigger than what FAU's playing in. And this run started. They get 6-8 years into it. And all of a sudden, they're like, we need a bigger place to play. And then, then we all know what happened. It took them forever to get to a Final Four. They've gotten to 2 in the last 5 years. They still haven't cut down the nets, but now they're not viewed as a mid-major anymore. Now, I'm not predicting, Mark, it's going to happen, but this is how these things, if it's going to happen, this is exactly how it happens.
And Florida's now a top 5, at worst, a top 7 state for recruiting talent in college basketball. That wasn't the case just a decade ago.
Mark, FAU's moving to the American. Gonzaga's in the West Coast Conference. They built one of the top 10 programs in the country, and I'm being conservative, out of the West Coast Conference. You don't think you can build one of the 10 best programs in the country out of the American? Boca Raton or Spokane? Where would you rather recruit kids to? Now, listen, no one's been able to do it. VCU has come the closest, and they pale in comparison to what Gonzaga's done. I mean, there's nothing in the area code of what Gonzaga's done in the last quarter century. But somebody east of the Rockies has got to do it sometime, right? I mean, it's got to happen.
Maybe. Hear me out. While Gonzaga has done all of this, the Pac-12 has gotten worse and worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
You're not having the same problems on this coast. The ACC, the Big Ten. Now, I do think going to the American will help them, but it's going to take a combination of things. One is there's got to be more. One, does this run get the money into the program they need? Because now in the NIL days, you're not going to build a top 25 program without the extra money. Who steps up for them? And there's far more competition just in the state of Florida alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. But
because in Spokane, you might be able to get the best players to come there and not to Washington or Washington State. It's not the case in Florida.
But the first part of the equation, I think, is, Gonzaga lucked out in a sense. They lucked out with Mark Few. Dan Monson got out of the way, took him to the Elite Eight in 99. He goes to Minnesota. Few moves over. And Mark Few had no desire to leave. Dusty May looks like he's not going to be able to leave. He's now going to he can actually afford to live in Boca. I mean, that's how big his raise is going to be. He can actually afford to live there now.
Not going to have to commute from Lauderdale anymore?
He doesn't have to go to chain restaurants with his wife on a date, okay? I mean, he's actually going to have $20, $40 in his wallet going forward. That's the first step. He's in his 40s, right? Okay. He's probably coming back next year with most of the guys. Make the tournament again. Honestly, just make the damn tournament. I mean, that's what Gonzaga has done literally every year. Every year since 1999, they've made the tournament. Every single year.
And the big thing that they did, and what you had always talked about for whoever is going to be the next Gonzaga, is to not win your conference and still get in.
Right.
Because there were years St. Mary's upset them in a conference final, but the Zags still had enough of a resume, enough of a reputation, and they had enough of a record to get into the tournament.
But how did it start? It started with a Cinderella run to the Elite Eight. Ironically, losing to UConn in the region final by a bucket. UConn would go on to win the national title in 99. Calhoun's first. Listen, is it likely going to be FAU? No. But somebody is going to do it. Someone east of the Rockies is going to become the next Gonzaga. VCU is the closest right now. And they're not even in the same area code. And their resume in the last 12 years is outstanding. And that includes a run to a Final Four. Wichita State was really close. They went to a Final Four, I think, as an 8 seed, and they were a 1 seed, I think, the next year. And Kentucky took them out in the second round.
Yeah, that was really nice of what they did to Wichita
Exactly.
State. Game a 1 seed and made Kentucky an 8 in their region.
Exactly. Bunch of pros, on the Kentucky team too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But like VCU's about to lose their head coach. Reportedly, he's going to Penn State. I mean, listen, if you're FAU, I mean, you could see, Gonzaga was playing in like a 4,000 seat arena. FAU plays in a 2,900 seat arena right now. And then the Gonzaga got the thing going, and it was kind of like, we need a bigger place to play.
I'd love to see FAU sell their arena out next year for all their games. That would be a huge start.
Totally. Start there. Absolutely. What's the toughest ticket in the South Florida sports scene? FAU men's basketball. Let's start there. 18 games, 3,000, standing room only. Great. Awesome. I'm just saying.
We shall see. 21,000 is the text line if you want to win tickets to the Rays home opener against the Tigers. Text the keyword Rays to 21,000. That's Rays to 21,000. We will give away tickets Wednesday for Thursday's home opener during the show to one lucky winner. Text Rays to 21,000 for your chance to win Rays home opener tickets, courtesy of Miller and Moulton.
A year and a half. If I put the over-under on Dusty May staying at FAU from this point forward as a year and a half, where would you go?
Under.
Figure something opens up next year they make him an offer he can't refuse?
I think so. Particularly given the fact that he's bringing everyone back, there's a good chance that he can not repeat the Final Four, repeat having a really good season.
Right. I'll be curious to see who will play him next year.
That American thing will help.
Okay. If you say so. Next year, the American's going to be, it's going to be weird looking. Got like 6 new schools entering it. People are going to have to
start in the office just to keep track of the conference.
It is. Never mind preseason banquet. Everybody's going to have to wear name tags. Hello, my name is. Who are you again? You're in the conference? Damn.
Don't care what conference they're in now because they're in the Final Four with Miami in basketball. I'm doing this mostly to remind myself that it's happened. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Dusty May coming up in our 8 o'clock hour right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
FGCU plays FAU most years. This year, FGCU lost at FAU by 32. It's when FGCU was playing well. They were like 7-2 early in the season. They went there and got drilled. The FGCU arena is bigger than the FAU arena, at least in terms of seating capacity. If I had to guess, because they did, FGCU and FAU did a home and home in 19 and 20. Then they didn't play in 21 and 22. I think both years, I think the 21, I don't know if the 21 game got canceled for COVID or what, but if I had to wager $20, I would bet that FAU is coming to FGCU next year. Since FGCU went to FAU last year, I'll bet you it's a 2-year home and home.
I'll say hi to Dusty May for you.
Well, that'll be a nice little coup for their home schedule.
On their way to a
It'll just be interesting. Right now, there's a better chance that the FAU coach will still be there for that game than the FGCU coach. Well, it's just part of the job. OK Music. It's choreographed beforehand, in which, the networks tell the coaches, listen, we'll do it. And sometimes they even ask the coaches, which timeout would you prefer, that sort of deal. So, it's not live. It's taped as live. They literally, as soon as they go to break, they tape the interview. So it's in the first 40 seconds of the 2.5-minute timeout. So,
the only thing I'm really not disappointed, because I was rooting for the Canes, but I wondered if Texas won the whole thing, if their fans would chant SEC at the end of it.
That's rich.
Andrew Brandt, a few years ago, the NFL would not allow Tony Romo and others to attend a fantasy football convention. The NFL spent tens of millions on lawyers fighting sports betting in court for 7 years. Today, NFL owners will vote on keeping in-stadium sports books open on game days.
$30 seconds. The Heat have their training camps at FAU's gym. $10 seconds. Here we go.
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We're just halfway home in the 239. We are Miller and Moulton. This is the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Dusty May, the head coach of FAU, to join us a little bit later this hour. You want to win tickets? Opening day at the Trop, Thursday, 3 o'clock against the Tigers. Text RAYS, RAYS, to 21,000, and you're automatically entered to win. We will give away the tickets Wednesday morning. The game, remember, is Thursday, 3 in the afternoon. So no matter where you may be listening, you can certainly go to opening day at the Trop for the Rays and the Tigers. Marlins and Mets, I believe. Opening day in Miami at 4 o'clock. So both the Rays and Marlins open at home. I love the mid-afternoon start times for both. If it's a beautiful day in Miami, my hope is they would open the roof.
They don't like to do that.
I know.
Nope.
And it's March, too. I mean, take advantage of the weather. You know, the humidity hasn't arrived yet. The rain's not coming. Man, I would do it. They didn't do it for the World Baseball Classic. We were shocked.
One time. Oh, my gosh. That made me so angry.
I know it's a really nice stadium. It's almost reaches the beautiful description. It's an excellent stadium. It's the product hasn't been worth going to. The food's excellent. The concourses are wide and wide open. You can see the game from anywhere on the concourse.
Also, out in left field, they have retractable sliding glass doors that, when open, give you a view of the skyline of Miami.
Yes, it's quite beautiful.
Just like the Orange Bowl back in the day.
Don't know why they do not open them up more. But anyway.
Doesn't make any sense.
No. So text RAYS to 21,000. We'll be in St. Pete Thursday morning, broadcasting live, getting ready for opening day of the baseball season. But we have got the fever. We've had it for a while. We told you Miami was a Final Four team in mid-February. You didn't believe us, did you? I don't blame you. Our track record, a little shaky. But we told you that was a sleeper Final Four team. It's the only thing I got right in my bracket, Mark. That region I nailed.
Did you have Miami going to the Final Four?
I did. I am losing to Gonzaga, though. Okay. I'm losing to Gonzaga in the semis. Okay. I had Alabama and Duke on the other side. I had a Bama-Gonzaga final. It's about the only thing in my bracket. I got the Midwest region. I had the Houston, Miami, Xavier, Texas. I had Miami, Texas. I had Miami. Well, come on. I said, we said it in mid-February. I mean,
saying it's one thing, putting it down on paper is another.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I got so much wrong. I mean, Charleston was going to the Sweet 16, I mean, I didn't get any of the upsets. I had like 2 12s. That's the other thing. Yeah, this tournament's amazing. We've had all the chaos that we've had in this tournament. We didn't have a single 12 win.
And a 12 always wins, David.
Every year but one in like the last 25. Think about it. We don't have a 1, 2, or 3 in the Final Four. It's the first time since they did seeding back in 79, we didn't have a 1 seed in the Elite 8. This is glorious. How much of this, by the way, do you credit to COVID?
A lot.
The extra year that guys are getting. And, I do think we have a lot more older clubs.
Well, San Diego State is a veteran club in the NBA.
It's true. They're older than the Magic. That is true. They're definitely older than the Magic. Might be older than the Pistons.
Older than the Thunder for sure.
That's really good, Mark.
I do think it had to do with not just who's in the Final Four, because I think San Diego State's really the one that benefited the most because of that. But I think it had to do with some of the upsets. I think it had to do with how this tournament shaped. It had to do with how this college basketball season went. I mean, you look at a team like Creighton, who started out red hot, then fell apart, then got their act together. Connecticut
UConn
started out red hot, lost their way midseason, found it. K-State was one of the teams entering the tournament that people were going, if there's one Big 12 team I don't trust, it's Kansas State.
Yeah, them and Iowa State were the two
Right.
kind of like, I don't know if you can, a little shaky to me. Huh? Okay. In fact, when they got a 3 seed, people were like, I don't know. In fact, I thought, Miami got a 5, K-State got a 3. I'm like, I don't know. I like one team more than the other.
So it's just it's been an amazing tournament. And I will say, as you mentioned earlier in the show, David, that the Northeast media has already given UConn the title. There's a reason. They are beating the ever-living tar out of everyone they play.
Oh, come on, Mark. What are you trying to say? So they're winning games by an average of 22 points.
I mean, I know it goes back to Thursday. We thought Arkansas had a little something for him. Arkansas had nothing for him.
Zip, zilch, nada. Got humiliated. Game wasn't as close as the final score. Neither was the Gonzaga game either.
No, it wasn't.
Don't get me wrong. I hated some of the fouls on Timmy, but it wouldn't have mattered. It would not have mattered. Remember, Iona led UConn at the half. You remember that in the first round? They're like a 2-score lead at the half. Hell, I think they won that game by 20-something. But yes, everybody because also UConn's the only one of the Final Four that's ever won the title before. It's the only one who had ever been to the Final Four. And as we pointed out earlier in the show, if UConn does cut down the nets, they're now a blue blood. That'd be 5 titles in less than 25 years. A. B, that's a title in 4 consecutive decades. 90s, 2000s, 20-teens, and now 2020s. I mean, come on now.
With a third head coach doing it.
Right. Calhoun, Kevin Ollie, and now Hurley. Man, if you think Hurley was yelling at people before, I mean, that's when they were losing early in the tournament. I mean, think about it. He wins this thing. There's nothing he won't be able to do.
I did love one of his post-game interviews when he said, I just wanted to be a high school coach, just like my dad. That's all I ever aspired to be, was to be a high school coach. And getting the opportunity to move on and do this. He's a little nuts, but we need that.
I do love the fact, though, they are the one school. They are the one school that said basketball is more important to us than football. Now they're still playing football and they're an independent and, they're kind of in no man's land and don't know if they're ever going to get back in a major football conference. I mean, you and I made the argument. We thought they should have A, dropped the sport entirely, or B, just gone FCS. But, they got Jim Mora Jr. as their coach, and they made a bowl game this year. And, okay, that's cute. But do you know the sport that means everything to them? Basketball. I mean, they went back to the Big East. They called the Big East up on the phone and said, what do we have to do to get back in?
Think about that.
Big East is like, you do know we don't play football. Yeah, we'll worry about that later. What do we have to do to get back in?
They should still drop football.
Yes, they should. They're wasting a ton of money.
A huge amount of money in all those scholarships.
Yeah, nobody cares in the
Because
Northeast.
when you're not in a conference, you're not getting anything coming in. At least in the American, there was enough money coming in that could maybe get you to a net sum zero, if you know what I mean.
There's nobody in New England who cares about college football. The only fans in the Northeast who care about college football root for Notre Dame or Penn State. Honestly, UConn could drop football yesterday. Their alumni would be like, whatever. We play basketball. And we have a good baseball history, actually. But whatever.
And we're pretty ticked off that we're not in the women's Final Four because that matters just as much to us as the men's.
What the heck, Gino? What, a down year? Every 18 years you're going to have a down year? That is unacceptable. Hey, very quickly. Caitlin Clark had 41 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists for Iowa. If you have not seen Caitlin Clark play, please watch the Iowa women in the Final Four and watch her play. Honestly, it's like Steph Curry for women. She's amazing.
She's knocking him down from the logo, too.
It's exactly like Steph Curry because she has the cockiness of Steph Curry. I mean, she's celebrating after every single bucket.
Thought it was pretty cool. I saw that warm-up, and Sue Bird came out for their shoot-around to watch all of those girls act the way boys would if LeBron showed up. I thought that caught me.
Yes. Caitlin Clark was speechless, nearly crying because Sue Bird walked out on the court.
That really caught me.
Yeah.
To know how much it means to those young ladies. I thought that was one of the cool moments of the weekend to see that. But you're right, Caitlin Clark, 40 points last night. She was in the first half, part of 88% of their scoring?
Oh, yeah. She ended up scoring or assisting on 73% of all their points.
For all the game.
Yeah.
Right. And she was in the 80s in the first half. Just remarkable.
35-0 South Carolina in action tonight in the Elite Eight against Maryland. Dawn Staley's their head coach. Did you see what she did in the Sweet 16? A UCLA player hurt her knee, and she's down at the one end of the floor. Well, since South Carolina has the ball, they can't stop play. And so South Carolina comes down. They got 5-on-4. I mean, the UCLA player can't move. She's hurt her knee. Dawn Staley calls timeout in the middle of the possession. And she just looked at the UCLA coach and pointed at the player, kind of like, you got to attend to her. That's pretty classy.
Miller and Moulton. Dusty May, FAU head coach, in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Of all the people I know, what I just sent you, I don't think anybody would appreciate it more than you.
What you just sent me.
Takes about 2.5 minutes. And it shows him basically having a buddy of his who wrote some lyrics down on a piece of paper. And he saw them and he takes them and he live sitting at the piano kind of says, here's what I think.
That was the one I fancied writing, mainly because I knew Bernie would like me to do this one because it's about his girlfriend.
Reg has to write very fast because he hasn't got the patience to sort of spend hours or days on something, you know. I mean, that's Reg.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, the words, Blue Jean Baby, LA Lady, seamstress of the band, pretty-eyed pirate smile, you marry a music man, ballerina. As soon as you use the word ballerina, you know it's not going to be fast. It's got to be sort of gentle and sort of quite slow. So, I mean, like, the way it's written here is a verse, it's a chorus, or a middle eight and a chorus, and another verse. I just sort of ran it through and then put two verses together, then a middle eight, then a chorus, and then back to the verse sort of thing. It happens very quickly. It sounds long, but it sort of starts off. Blue jean baby, LA lady, seamstress for the band. Iron smile, pretty eye. You marry a music man. Ballerina, you must have seen her.
Stay with it.
Dancing in the sand. Now she's in me, always with me. Tight dancer in my hand. It sort of changes, you see, to this verse. Oh, I feel so real, different tempo. I'm here with no one near, only you, and you can't hear me when I say softly, slowly, and it sort of goes up. Hold me closer, tiny dancer. Count the headlights on the highway. So it goes up to sort of a big sort of fast, not a fast, but it's quite heavy then. The drums are in, well, they will be.
Cool.
I just, you never get to see genius at work. It's I thought it was an amazing clip.
I still have to watch that whole Beatles thing on Apple TV. I've got 3 months free subscription. I've got to go in so I can just watch that.
Spitz, we did talk about it. How you could get tickets to the national championship game for $5. That arena will be empty. Never mind what it'll be if UConn gets beat by Miami.
I know some people that will be there. I might need to do some R&D. Tell them to go up to the ticket booth and be like, give me the cheapest ticket.
Well, it's sold out. All the tickets are sold. But on the secondary market, standing in front of the arena, Felipe, I'll bet you on Saturday, like if you're a Florida sports fan, FAU and Miami each in a semifinal, I'll bet you could show up in Houston. I bet you could get in that arena for $25 Saturday. 50 tops. And see a Final Four. See both semifinals.
Road trip to Houston? I'm just kidding.
Well, first off, there'll be 20,000 tickets available for Monday on the market, on the street. But don't you think there'll be 10,000 available Saturday?
Because more people go Saturday?
Well, sure. There's four teams.
Four teams.
And the coaches usually all stay for Saturday. Most of them fly home Sunday.
Also, it's on a Monday. The Natty.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Dusty May coming up in about 15 minutes' time here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. By the way, we are led to believe from the University of Miami Sports Information Department that we will get Coach Larrañaga on this week. I mean, cannot say enough good things about both FAU and Miami. You know, we had Dusty May on in the regular season, but we've had each coach on every week, you know, leading into the first round, leading into the Sweet 16, and Dusty May coming up here in 15 minutes, and we're led to believe. I mean, Miami didn't get back till 3:45 in the morning.
Right. Larrañaga was taking photos with students at 4 a.m.
Right.
Taking selfies with fans that were out in front, greeting the students back at 4 this morning.
But, you know, we think in the next couple of days, and also we're optimistic we're going to have both voices, Ken Levica for FAU and obviously Joe Sagacki for the Canes. And we'll
Saw a
have them
great
on.
picture of Joe cutting down a piece of net. You know, Levica, we've talked about the time, but Zagacki's been there forever.
Yep. Been there longer than Levica.
And
I believe
all Miami sports equally.
Yes.
Zagacki isn't football over basketball over baseball. He is a Cane. It doesn't matter what it is. He is all in.
Yep.
So great to see Joe Zagacki up on the ladder cutting down the net. And Levica, after the whole fiasco with his equipment going out, Dusty May did the longest interview with anybody with his own guy.
For those that don't know what it is that Mark was referencing, so from your vantage point watching FAU and Kansas State, you see the side of the court with the benches. Well, the other side of the court, that's where they had the media. They had like 3 rows of media. And late in the Elite Eight, about a minute to go, they lose the internet connection in the first row. Well, that's where Ken Levica set up. Now, I will say, I'm curious where Westwood 1 was set up, because I was listening to the stretch on Westwood 1, and they did not lose their signal. And I'm thinking to myself, is it possible they were on the side of the scorer's table side of the court? I don't think so. I think they just got lucky, Mark. You know how sometimes, you know, certain, you know, strips, if you will, like they break that side of the court up into 3 different sections, and Westwood 1, I'm sure, was right at center court, and Levica may have been down closer to a free throw line. Like, I know when I did it, I was closer to a free throw. Both places in Philadelphia, I was across from the bench at the free throw, and the same with Dallas. I was at the free throw line. So maybe it was just the secondary strip of tables, but they lost their internet connection with a minute
Somehow
to go.
I think Westwood 1 has their own. I would think that their connections are different than everyone else's. That's just me.
Right. Because they stayed on the air, but with a minute to go, 106.3 in West Palm Beach gets knocked off the air through no fault of their own. And Levica and a buddy of his behind him, so they take the internet cord from the second row, they stretch it out. Levica takes his equipment, hands his equipment to the guy. They plug it in, and the guy sits there and holds the equipment in his hand so that the headset would stretch far enough so that Ken could continue to sit in his row and call the game. And as he said, I got lucky. K-State called the timeout with 19 seconds to go. We got back on the air during the timeout.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Because what I want to ask Ken, when we talk to him, is how he was able to maintain his composure as 2 minor league announcers. And that's really what David's lucky enough. Now he's been grinding at the major league level as a spotter for quite a while. But as an announcer, as a play-by-play guy, Miller and Moulton are minor league play-by-play guys. That's where we did our games. And we've had all of these problems happen to us. Every one of them. Because we've done it long enough that we were doing them on telephone lines before the internet when things really used to crap out. And this just in, Miller and Moulton both have tempers and do a lot of yelling and screaming when equipment problems happen. Still to this day. It's a flaw.
Yeah, it is. There's no doubt. But I will say both of us know that we can come back on the air at any time. And so you don't necessarily want to be cursing because you don't know when you're coming back. Yelling is one thing. Cursing is another.
I've been on the opposite end of that, and it amazes me how you guys are able to come back to your radio selves and keep your composure after all the rage from the technological failures. And don't get me wrong, I poop my pants every time that happens. It's not a great feeling on my end either, because it's on me.
We have both told stories. I have two quickly. I was doing a high school football playoff game in Pennsylvania. Okay. And we were attached to a phone line. And for whatever reason, every time the boiler kicked on, we went off the air for 20 seconds and then we'd come back. Okay. Really? It was unbelievable. Had no idea that we were tied to the boiler system. You could tell how old the football stadium was. And Mark, I was doing University of Scranton play-by-play. They won a big road game that put them in the playoffs. And we were in Madison, New Jersey at FDU, by the way, but it was, a secondary outlet of Fairleigh Dickinson. And the people there were so mad, they ripped all our wires and power everything out of the wall. So we're like 20 seconds after, and they won and the final score, and they ripped us right off the air.
That's impressive.
Right. So I had to climb over the table and put everything back. It took about 3 minutes to get back on.
I was nearly attacked in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, please elaborate.
Calling a Raleigh Ice Caps, Richmond Renegades East Coast Hockey League hockey game.
Wow.
And the seats in Richmond where the broadcast booth was were basically, you were almost in the crowd. And I obviously have a loud voice. That night we happened to win, so scores get loud, and the guy in front of me kept turning around. Well, the more he'd turn around, the louder I'd get. And at one point, he pushed all my equipment back into me.
Oh.
And I was, fortunately, the off-ice officials were there because I was ready to climb the boards and get beat up by the entire crowd. And I would have.
Well, that's either a career maker or an ender right there.
Yep. And pre-internet, it's a career ender. That goes viral. You might have a little passion. You might get another shot. Right. But before that, you just get arrested.
Right. Nowadays, you'd go viral.
Oh.
You'd be on Jimmy Kimmel, all the talk shows.
Right. Like the FDU SID, the junior in college that's at the Final Four this week because, they're too cheap to hire an SID.
For being a college student. That's all.
You got to think Lavica does the Miami TV shows, though, right? Some morning news.
I would hope so.
I mean, if nothing else, maybe they even come to him. They go live on campus instead of him having to get up and go into the studio and get made up. Hey, we're in the Final Four. You come to us.
FAU is in the Final Four. Wow.
If you're Miami, do you feel as if you've been upstaged? We go to our first Final Four, and FAU is the story.
A little.
Yeah.
When you can't get the above the fold in your own market.
Wait, we made the Final Four. We'd never done this before either. Yeah, I know, but you're in the ACC.
And a school less than 50 minutes away, upstaging you.
They're a beach school, for goodness sakes.
Miller and Moulton in the basketball mecca. That is Florida. The Canes and FAU both going to the Final Four, 51 miles apart. Dusty May, the head coach of FAU, he is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth. that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you watch any of the match play?
Yeah.
Did you see Smith's shot on Saturday against on the par 3 where he almost holed it that was like 20 yards left and rolled off the hill to nearly go in the hole? And then he apologized.
Felipe, if he's not ready at 8:38, don't panic.
Okay.
Because obviously he has a lot of requests, you know.
He's having the media storm of his life right now.
But they've been very good to us. They fit us in between 2 national interviews on Friday, by the way.
He's getting interviewed by NBA TV. He's like, hold on, I'm with NBA TV right now. I'm like, what?
And his interview after ours was NBA radio because they rebroadcast the morning show. And I went to go get breakfast and they were having to get vape for a couple minutes. And Frank Isola was literally saying, yeah, he's doing a Florida interview right now. We get him next.
Nice. Well, I'll be damned.
It was Cam Young. You're right. What did I say?
Did you say Cam Smith?
I might have said Cam Smith. I was just living.
Dusty May is on hold.
Cam Young's got a little David Duval thing going right now. He's like been runner-up 6 times, hasn't won yet. I think Duval was runner-up 7 times before he finally won his first event.
30 seconds. Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thrilled to be joined once again by the men's basketball coach at FAU. They're in the Final Four. He's Dusty May. Follow him on Twitter at Coach Dusty May. Coach Dusty May. Dusty, it's David and Mark once again. Thanks for making time for us. Have you gotten a decent night's sleep yet?
What's your definition of decent night?
5 hours.
Last night was better than the night before. So, I probably got close to 5 last night. So, I'm doing great.
Well, congratulations, Coach. This has been a riot to watch. I can't imagine what it's been like to be on top of it. But just talk to us about your team, both Tennessee and K-State. These are supposed to be big, tough, physical teams. And, I mean, you dominated them on the glass. How did that happen?
Well, our guys are tenacious. They're quick to the basketball. They're physical. And they have great instincts as far as rebounding the basketball and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it.
You began your basketball adult journey as a manager at Indiana. Bob Knight was known for a lot of things, but one of them that he believed in was you don't have to call timeouts if you've done your job as a coach during the week. And one of the things that we've noticed is you don't call timeouts when things are tough in the final 10 minutes. Is that because of just a coaching philosophy, or is that because you know your veteran team and you don't have to?
No, I guess probably there's a few instances that you speak of. Number one, I always try to have 1 or 2 left for the in case they're pressing at the end. I just want our guys, if they get in trouble. We saw at the end of the Virginia game, their player panicked and he threw it. So I always want our guys to know, other than the Florida game this year, we've always saved a timeout for our guys to use. And other than that, there was one, there's less than a minute left. Elijah Martin switched on to their center. And I look up and there's 9 seconds on the shot clock. We have an all-league guard with a center guarding him. And I'm thinking, can I draw up a better play than Elijah Martin can make on this particular player? And in that situation, I trusted him to get it done. And even though that possession didn't work out, he did on the other. So, I have a lot of belief in our guys. I think if you call timeout, then all problems are solved is a little bit overrated, or else you'd never have a winner or a loser. Everyone would just time. You just call timeout anytime someone scored, and that would be the solution. So I have a lot of faith in our guys, especially in broken floor situations. I think going against a set defense is much more difficult than our guys going in the flow.
As you look back in the film, what has impressed you most about what your team's done?
That they haven't, I guess, they've resisted the urge to make it about themselves and their own selfishness. In today's climate, they're accessible to everyone, and we even laugh about it as a group to show the maturity of our guys. We were sitting around talking our first day in New York, sharing stories about how this guy's uncle's telling him he needs to shoot more threes, and this guy's mom's telling him he needs to do this, and they're just kind of laughing, saying, they just don't understand that this is about the team. And whenever you have 18 to 20-year-olds with that thought process, it's pretty odd because what their experience is what 99% of young people experience, where they're getting outside pressures to do something outside of what I guess the winning requires. So just a really mature group who care about each other and want to do things the right way and share the spotlight.
Dusty May, the head coach at FAU, 35-3. They have an 11-game winning streak. They had a 20-game winning streak earlier in the year. You said something when you found out that Nova Southeastern won the national championship. You said something in which you said, well, listen, we scrimmaged them, all right, before the season. And when we beat them in the scrimmage, that's when I knew we were good. So you knew this Nova Southeastern thing was coming, didn't you?
Well, number one, I knew we were good because we were good last year. We just found ways to lose, and I've been very clear with that. We had a good basketball team last year, and I don't know if it's lack of experience. There is I don't want to say luck. I call it randomness of winning and losing. I think there was a lot more randomness to losing last year, and there's a lot more randomness to winning this year. And it usually balances out. You put in the work. You know, everyone can't be lucky or unlucky all the time over a long period. Water finds its level is what we say. So we knew we were good last year. We didn't get it done, but we also believe that we were really close. And so all off season, we had a great off season. We knew we were good. And then Nova, they come in here, and we know how. First of all, the whole line of D1 and D2, there's not much in between anymore. Those guys, there are a lot of guys on their roster that can play anywhere in this country. And there's a lot of guys at that level that can play anywhere, as we're seeing throughout college basketball. But it's the way they play, how hard they compete. They're like us. They share it. They have a great culture and chemistry. So we respected them, and we went up actually 16 late in the second half. And then they stormed back, and it became interesting. But absolutely, we would have been shocked if they lost a game this year, other than just maybe in the tournament or one game where you just have an off night and the other team has a great night.
Talk about your first recruit, Forrest, knocking down those 4 free throws. There was just some symmetry to that, wasn't there, Coach?
Absolutely. He's been an ambassador. He's been someone. Anytime when you talk about in practice and you bring other guys into the program, he's always been someone we could refer to as someone who's going to model behavior every single day. If you question how hard it is, just watch Mike. If you want to see what it looks like, just watch Mike. So he's been that guy for 5 years. I'm just happy that we get another week of practice and workouts with Mikey Forrest, because he's a special dude.
And he and your team have been special throughout this season. Getting back to the comment you just made about the randomness of winning, is that kind of how you can describe? I heard this stat. If it's wrong, please correct me, that you guys were 0-8 last year in games decided by 5 points or less. I know you're 11-1 in games decided by 5 points or less this year with largely the same group. How is that explained?
Well, I think I exaggerated for the worst. I think we were 0-6, and we missed timely free throws. We had bad breaks. One game at home, we're leading. We foul a 3-point shooter. Then he makes all 3. Then we miss the free throw to win it, and you go overtime. Then you lose. And there were a couple different games that were really competitive, close games, and a player who made 7 3-pointers on the season made 4 against us, and they made 3 of the other 30-plus games. So there's just certain things that you can't really control in a one-possession or one-game scenario. So what we went into this year thinking we need to avoid as many close games where chance and randomness comes into play. And we were able to do that for about 20 games. We were able to win by 15 or plus, or even have a comfortable margin. And even some of our closer games this year, they weren't that close. We had big leads, kind of let off the gas, and they cut it to 5 or 6, and ended up hitting a shot to cut it to 4, whatever the case. So it wasn't as if they were a tie game or we were down 1. So it is what it is. I do think our guys, the experience of already being in those positions before, gives them confidence as they've been here before and they believe in each other.
I know you can't coach randomness, but how do you prepare a team all year long so that the randomness doesn't happen, if you know what I mean?
Well, you try to avoid it as much as you can. if you're in a one possession game every single night for 35 games, you're probably going to experience some heartache and sorrow. Where if you can avoid those and only be in one possession games 10 times, now you increase your chances and just. But I do believe veteran experienced guards. We are deep. Last year we were essentially 2 guards shorter in our rotation than we are now. We have 2 experienced guards, Nick Boyd and Jalen Gaffney, who we added to the group from last year. And even with that, we were playing walk-ons for 20, 25 plus minutes in some of those games because BJ Greenlee was hurt early in the season. So that might be a difference as well too, where we have 3 more really good guards versus a walk-on guard playing 20 to 30 minutes.
San Diego State, what have you seen? And just, your gut feeling early on in the week as to how you match up.
They're very similar to Tennessee. So it'll be our mindset. Are we able to move the ball, spread them out? Because they're physical, they're strong, they're old. I can't say enough good things about San Diego State. Maybe our experience studying Australian rules football will help with this route. Another joke, I'm sure. That'll be. But they're very physical. They're tough. They're well schooled. Just a really sound program who does it year in, year out with consistency. It's impressive.
What's the week like? What's the week going to be like for you guys? How much do you give them a time to celebrate, or is it no celebrating and right back to work?
No, our guys they're focused on the next thing. There's not much celebration. This season will be over in 8 or 9 days, regardless of what happens. There's no ending. There's no stop sign. There's nowhere where we can point to when you lose, you're done. Now, definitively, we know our season will be over within 8 days. So we're just trying to enjoy this moment, stay focused on what we need to do because our guys they're driven and determined to do more.
Any concern about now playing in a football stadium? You were fortunate your regional was at, arguably the best basketball arena in the country. And now you go from 20,000 to 70,000. Sometimes shooters say they kind of lose their eye in a football stadium. Does that concern you at all?
No, I've spoken to a couple Final Four coaches recently last night, just trying to get an idea of all this stuff outside of game planning and whatnot. And they said, we shot it really well in practice. We shot it really well the first game, and then we shot it horribly in the championship game and things like that. So we're trying not to we do feel like we can win any style. We've proven that this year. If it's a knockdown, drag-out fight in North Texas, we found a way to win, or it's an up-and-down run and gun type of game like we had UAB at home. We found a way to win that one as well. So we're confident that we can figure out a way to win, even if the shots aren't going in. And we've had that mindset all season.
Coach, final question. And once again, we're very appreciative of your time. You've given it to us going all the way back to mid-January. You said you had your, hey, wow, this is cool moment when you walked out onto the floor before the Sweet 16 at Madison Square Garden. We're curious, who's the text or the phone call or something that's happened in the last 36 hours in which you went, I'll be damned?
Oh, wow. I grew up with Brad Stevens at the same time period. We knew each other. We weren't friends or anything like that, but we always knew each other. And he's been a great sounding board recently with a lot of these things. And then Bill Self actually reached out, and I've been a big admirer of his basketball teaching, coaching philosophy for a long, long time. So those are a couple cool ones, but there's been some regular ones with really interesting people that, it's been overwhelming, just the amount of access we've had to people that can help us grow. Doug Lamov, who I idolize as a teacher who teaches teachers and authors books on education. And I bought every one of his books and listened to every one of his podcasts I could find. He's reached out. So it's been really cool to connect with people that I've stolen a lot of information from.
Well, have a great week. Safe travels. Best of luck. And hopefully we can talk to you again next week.
That'd be great.
Dusty May, the head coach of the 35-3 Owls of FAU, your East Region champions, headed to their first Final Four. They'll play San Diego State in the first semifinal a little after 6 o'clock Saturday night on CBS.
Remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. Memphis, they beat by 1. Fairleigh Dickinson by 8. They beat Tennessee by 7, a 3-point win against K-State. They are in the Final Four.
They had 4 wins by 4 points or less in a row to pretty much start their conference season in January. They lost to Ole Miss. They beat Florida, non-conference. They didn't play the Canes this year. They played the Canes last year. Lost by 2 at home. Wouldn't that be something if they could play again? And you wonder just who they'll be able to get or not get on their schedule. I mean, listen, if you're Miami, you're tempted to obviously, get FAU at home. But, I mean, could you move that to the big arena? I mean, could Miami FAU play at, Heat Arena, quite frankly, next year, coming off both of them going to the Final Four?
Little neutral site action.
Be the only time that those two schools could fill that up. They're not, I mean, come on, they're basketball schools right now.
Well, the Orange Bowl has a basketball tournament, and they play at Sunrise there. And if you're the Orange Bowl, you got to put these two against each other in that tournament. They usually have like the Canes and the Gators or the Canes and the Knowles, and they don't play each other. But, I mean, that'd be a natural for next year. Coach Dusty May is how you follow him on Twitter. Dusty with a Y. Coach Dusty May.
They lost in February, and then their second winning streak started.
Right. They won 20 in a row. They lost like 2 out of 5, and they've won 11 straight.
Tampa, St. Pete, Lake City, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The syndicated part of Miller and Moulton is over. The bonus hour in the 239 is next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch
with a K. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Having a ball watching the Stan Verrett Clay Travis Twitter battle.
Oh my God. Clay is destroying him.
Destroying him. Logic Man, we think they're really good, believe it or not, because there are no jobs out there for Dusty.
Where's he going to go?
VCU?
The VCU guy's getting the Penn State job.
But VCU, that's
right. I mean, if you're Dusty May, do you leave FAU for VCU? I wouldn't.
What are you going with there?
Peanut butter and it looks like wheat, maybe bread.
Okay. I thought it was a hot dog, and I was really fired up, David. My daughter and my mother made strawberry jam on Friday. My goodness, was that good.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They would pick strawberries, and then they made strawberry jam and strawberry pie.
Oh.
My mom can make pie crust.
Logic Man, if you're Dusty May, would you leave FAU for South Florida?
He said no.
Mm-mm.
Nope. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
If you were to base my top 5 fandom of Miami teams in terms of games I've been to, it would be Heat, Marlins, and then Hurricanes basketball.
Okay. I'm glad you took an hour and a half to answer that question. I'm just going by what I've been do for 2.5 years on there, year and a half on this show. And trust me, it's a distant fifth.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think it's over football. Basketball's my thing.
Jake and Logic Man, here's the deal. There has to be a job open for him to take. Name the job that's open right now. There isn't one. There's not a Power 5 job open. The VCU job later today will become the best job available.
10 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this final Monday of March. Thanks so much for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. If you missed our interview with Dusty May, the men's basketball coach at FAU, go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download it. We just had it about 25 minutes ago. So, Mark, the questions, and we brought this up much earlier on today's show, but, we have people coming in and out listening. And we've had a few people in our Twitch chat room who, after hearing the interview with Dusty May, they're like, well, this is going to be his final week at FAU. And we're like pulling a Lee Corso going, not so fast, my friend. I mean, Mark, the VCU job's apparently opening up today because Mike Rhodes, their head coach, is going to get the Penn State job. The South Florida job is technically still open, although it looks like they're pretty far down the road with somebody also. I mean, I don't know of another. I don't think there's a Power 5 job available. And VCU South Florida looks to be the top of the food chain of what's left. I mean, there's a lot of NJIT and Sam Houston State and jobs like that. I mean, Mark, sometimes you just get lucky. And I think FAU's getting lucky here. I don't think there's a job for him to go to.
You've got Texas, if they don't stick with the guy that's there.
Although there's already a report this morning that says he's getting offered the job full-time later today.
And Texas Tech.
Okay.
I'm looking at every
All
job
right.
that's available right now.
Well, that's a Power 5 job. If you're Dusty May, Lubbock, Texas, or do you sit tight at FAU for another year and you have your whole damn team or most of them coming back? I mean, they don't have a senior. All these kids could come back. Now, maybe some of them will transfer NIL and what have you. Here's the other thing. Dusty's making reportedly $5.25. What do you think his raise is going to be?
Double it.
And I think it's going to be more. But I definitely think you're right. I definitely think now there's a comma added. Okay, he's going to be a million-plus coach. I think they may have to get close to 1.5.
They're going to the American.
Mm-hmm.
For a point of reference, David, you're better at these salaries, but I mean, when Joe D left FGCU to go to ECU, which was an American school, wasn't he getting like $900 to start?
Right. He went from making in the mid threes at FGCU, and his 5-year contract was $900K a year. So that was a threefold increase. But that's to go small conference.
No, but I'm just trying to give people
right.
perspective that 900 was a starting point in the American. That's the conference they're in now.
Right.
Well, I don't think you're far off in what your expectations of what May will get if he stays.
My understanding is the head coach of VCU, Mike Rhodes, and he's about to leave for the Penn State job. He was making around 1.4. So that gives you an idea as to what it is that VCU is going to offer. I think FAU is going to keep him. And once you keep him for 1 year, anything's possible. Here's the other thing. Larinaga not going anywhere. The guy at Florida just finished his first year, and Leonard Hamilton's calling his shot at Florida State too. So, now you start getting into there's probably none of the big three in state that are going to open up a year from now. And I think, by the way, if Leonard were to walk away in a year, I think there are others who would vault ahead of Dusty May for that job. Leonard's got a coaching tree. Andy Enfield's part of that coaching tree. I think Andy would be ahead of Dusty May on the ladder for the Florida State job if that thing opened up in the next couple of years. But we'll see. Might not be.
Be interesting to see if you could get Andy's wife to move from LA to Tallahassee. I mean, I think that might take him right out of the job, but that's just me.
At least you're within a half an hour of water. You're at least,
Right.
I'm just saying.
Sell it. Sell it, big fella.
Well, it's not an easy sell, but it is, don't know about going to the Big Ten. The ACC may look good, or wherever the heck Florida State's going to end up. I think they're going to end up in the Big 12, personally. I really do. I think within 5 years, Florida State's going to be in the Big 12. But that's a topic for another day. When the ACC blows up, I think they end up in the Big 12. But
boy, it'll take 5 years for the ACC to blow up.
I think it'll take another couple.
I just think 5's a lot financially of where they'll be when these conferences start making all this money.
Right.
If it lasts 5 years, I would be bullish on the ACC.
So right now, if I give you how many more years will the ACC last, and I put the over-under at 4.5, you're going under? Wow. Look at you. That's bold.
They're in a terrible position going forward.
Yes.
Terrible.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
And their best sport, they got Miami to go to the Final Four. You got North Carolina not even in the tournament right now. I'm telling you, the ACC is in a position they've never been before.
It does have to be rich for the Miami fan out there, the ACC fan, now championing your cause. I mean, you have to find that rich, right? For how much they've spit at you for the last 10, 12 plus years. And really and the conference acts much of the time like you're not even part of it. Like, we're stuck with you. We don't really want you.
Well, every time Miami is good, it's because the ACC is bad that year or whatever.
That's right.
The excuse is.
It's a down year for the
Right.
ACC, and Miami's risen to the top. I mean,
stop.
God forbid it could be a good ACC year with Miami winning.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's a backhanded compliment. Well, they're only good because we suck this year.
Right, even though they went to an Elite Eight last year as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Basketball school.
Well, that's kind of undeniable now. That's painful. That's painful, but hey, come on now. When Larinaga got hired, let's be brutally honest about this 12 years ago. When Larinaga got hired, for those that pay attention to this sort of thing, how many of you thought, I don't know about this? I mean, he had that one run at George Mason, but I don't know. This seems like a retirement job. It seems like a guy who took the payday. He'll do his 4, 5, 6 years. He'll be okay. And then he'll retire. Because I got to be honest, that's what I thought. I mean, he was a very good coach. I knew they wouldn't be bad, but I just thought they'd be okay. And, he'd get one contract extension. He'd do his 6 to 8 years, and he'd call it a day. And he's gone to 4 Sweet 16s, 2 Elite Eights, and a Final Four.
2 games away from having a court named after him, for crying out loud.
Well, I'll tell you what, he was a semifinalist for the Basketball Hall of Fame this year, no, he was a finalist.
Finalist.
Yeah, well, he's in next year.
He's 2 games away from a court and a statue.
I think that win against Texas got him over the hump, the Hall of Fame hump. I think he's in now.
What, there's only 15 of these guys that have coached 2 teams to a Final Four, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not, this is.
And Mark, and the 2 teams he took, boy, are they basketball schools. George Mason and Miami.
Now the question becomes, can John Ruiz do this in football?
I think
You've done it in basketball. You've done it in women's basketball. I mean.
Yes.
Come on. They went to an Elite Eight in women's basketball. They're in a Final Four in men's basketball. The next process is the football team to start winning. Well, this is what John Ruiz envisioned when he decided to take his checkbook and invest it in the University of Miami.
So far, so good.
So far, so really good.
Larinaga's his first Sweet 16 was his second year at Miami. Obviously, next year's year 2 for Cristobal. Can they be good? I mean, could you go 9-3? I mean, could you have the year Florida State just had? You go 9-3, maybe you win your bowl game, you put your 10-win season on the board, and you kind of start to feel, oh, you know what? I think we're getting pretty good again.
Right. We've ruddered this ship in the right direction. We're now heading. Now we've got a little momentum going forward.
Yeah. I mean, boy, Gators and Canes fans both. Wouldn't they take a 9-3 right now? Oh man, take a 9-3.
Good thing for the Gators, it's gymnastics and baseball season are still going on because,
whew,
oh boy,
man,
this got to sting a little bit if you're a Florida Gator fan today.
Oh, yeah, these are not good times. If you're Scott Strickland, you're not answering nearly as many phone calls as you used to. The AD in Florida. Mm-mm. When you're working the media to pump up that Wisconsin transfer quarterback, I'm here. What have you read all the stories about how great this kid is in the last 5 days? Oh my goodness.
Well, that's because the quarterback who couldn't play for you last year might be a top 5 pick.
But how about the Canes and how about the Owls? Man, this is great stuff. And not just because we're in Florida. These are great stories, along with San Diego State. I mean, 3 of the 4 Final Four teams have never been to the Final Four before. And we're not going to have years like this. This is the anomaly. This is college basketball is not changed. I mean, how quickly we forget. Last year it was Kansas, Duke, Carolina, Nova. Okay. It's a 1-year thing. Embrace it. Enjoy it.
Be very curious how many did embrace it and enjoy it, because the first weekend's numbers were through the roof. But with all the blue bloods gone, can the second weekend continue on in the ratings game for college basketball?
And if you were to give truth serum to Jim Nantz right now, does he wish he had gone out last year with that Final Four?
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Who was it who made the comment about now put FGCU back on the schedule lately? Logic Man, what sport?
What team?
Yeah. By the way, how about the FGCU baseball team?
I saw their scores. Holy cow.
Like 28 runs, right?
40 something. Every game they played was a 28-7, 14-7, 14-3.
Jesus.
Colin Cowherd's tweet from yesterday. FAU, Miami, San Diego State, and UConn. Sounds like three schools a kid from Connecticut that likes to party wants to attend, and then the one his parents are making him attend.
That's outstanding.
That's so perfect.
Logic Man, yeah, Paper City. We went through that BU, Minnesota, Michigan, Quinnipiac for the Frozen Four. Logic Man, what sport were you talking about? Now put FGCU back on the schedule. And what school? FAU? Miami?
I think he's saying Miami.
For what?
Have they ever had the Frozen Four in Tampa?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You should listen to the show.
Sorry.
We've talked about it quite often.
He doesn't even listen to what he says on the show.
No. Yep. They've had it like 3 times previously. It's a very hot ticket. Think about it. You've got all the northern schools who usually make it. Their fans are like, wait, we get to spend 3-4 days in Tampa St. Pete first week of April?
I just know you. I know you said that people were raving over it. I just.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, FGCU beat them at home in November of 2012. That was the Sweet 16 year for both schools. FGCU beat Miami at Miami 3 years ago.
I remember that.
The pandemic season. FGCU beat them without their starting point guard, and they went there and beat them.
It was a down year for Miami.
Bullshit. FGCU.
No.
Okay. It was, but I mean, come on. They're an ACC school.
No, it was a great win. Oh, my gosh.
It was the first time FGCU had beaten a Power 5 team on the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Because
God.
the NCAA tournament wins were neutral court.
Oh, true.
That was their first true Power 5 road win. Like, they beat UMass on the road, but they had not beaten a Power 5 school on the road.
Ooh. Little follow-up for you in the Twitch chat room. The two guys of filling fish with weights during a tournament are scheduled to go to trial this week.
Ooh. 10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, all coming up. David Sampson will be on the show tomorrow morning. We'll likely have some more FAU and Miami basketball guests as well. A reminder, opening day of the baseball season is Thursday. You can win tickets to the Rays-Tigers game Thursday at 3 o'clock. You've got a little less than 48 hours, or maybe 48 hours. It'll probably be around this time. on Wednesday that we'll be giving those tickets away. All you have to do is text the word RAISE to 21,000 and you're automatically entered to win. It's as simple as that. RAISE, RAYS to 21,000. And at least one of you and a guest is going to be going to opening day at the Trop.
I could almost line up the games for the weekend by what I was eating during them. I had such a fantastic weekend of basketball and food combination. Had the daughter with a friend over, so she was occupied from early Saturday right on through.
Okay.
Till halftime of the first game Sunday. It was a tremendous weekend. Between the match, I was into the match play, a little bit of the college hockey. There were some other things on out there besides. That's where the multiple televisions did me justice.
I'm with you. I watched some college hockey. I did not get into the match play until Sunday. I did not. Wednesday through Saturday did not interest me.
I watched a bunch on Saturday, actually. It was pretty good. There's some great shots. I love match play. I hate that they're taking. I know this tournament does, but the style of match play for these golfers who are so good, when they're hitting shots on the normal hole where it's, okay, you can't hit at that pin. That's a bad pin to hit at. So I'm going to hit it to the middle of the green. I'm going to two-putt, and I'm going to make 4. Well, they don't do that in match play. They're firing at pins. They're trying to create shots that they normally wouldn't do in tournaments. And I'm disappointed. It's not a great TV product always, particularly on the last day. I mean, Saturday to me was a better TV product. Saturday early when you had the quarterfinal matches going on is a better TV product than Sunday.
Right. You had 4 matches going on, right?
Right.
It's ironic, though. They're getting rid of the match play, and yet they nearly had a Rory Scheffler final. They both lost in extra holes in the semis. And the reason Dell puts her name on this tournament is Dell was founded in Austin, Texas. Well, they play the match play at Austin Country Club. I don't know that Dell puts their name on anything else. Like, they would love to have them replace Honda, I'm sure, and put their name on that tournament. But the guy who's running Dell's not interested.
Not at all.
No, I'm interested because the tournament's here. We're based out of here. I'm interested in supporting it. Otherwise, I'm not interested. Never mind the fact the match play was a WGC event. They got, really good fields, top 64 players arguably in the world that aren't on the LIV tour. Of course, there's only about 3 of them that are ranked in the top 64 anymore because they haven't gotten any ranking points for about a year. Everybody's making a big deal, by the way. It'll be a week tomorrow is the Champions Dinner at Augusta. About how awkward that might be. There's like 6 or 7 LIV guys that are going to be in the room.
It's going to be awkward for Rory.
Well, he ain't in the room.
Oh, that's right. He can't be there. So that awkwardness goes away. He's not won that tournament. Oh. So the guy who's been the loudest isn't even in the room. So that takes away some of the awkwardness.
Right. But El Tigre will be there.
Is he even going to talk to anybody?
Well, I don't know. I don't know who his friends are that are in the room. I mean, he'll talk to Jack. But just say, I mean, listen, everybody likes Dustin Johnson because, DJ's like, hey, I mean, how could you be mad at DJ? He's not against you. You're not going to do a DJ impression, are you?
I had hamburgers when it was my dinner.
I see Scheffler's doing something similar. Hey, I like those sliders. It's a good idea. So that's all. I'm just saying, you got Patrick Reed, you got Sergio, Phil, of course. DJ, Schwartzel, they're not a problem. Bubba, Bubba can be a problem.
Sergio?
Well, no, I said Sergio, Patrick Reed, Phil.
Sergio can be a problem.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Sergio, Patrick Reed, and Phil, they're the problems. Schwartzel and DJ are not a problem. Here's what I think about Bubba. Bubba's the guy who believes everybody in the room likes him. and 2/3 of the room doesn't. That's what I envision Bubba is.
I think that's spot on. I think that is so spot on because he spent 4 years trying to make sure he could shake everyone's hand after they won a tournament. Now everybody's doing it, but Bubba was the first that seemed to always get camera time congratulating someone who won the tournament.
Right. Also, he's the big Augusta guy. He's been the guy there the first couple years for the women's amateur, in which, they encouraged past men's champions to support this event. Well, Bubba's been all in on that event. Doesn't play that weekend. He's there. He speaks. He's walking the course. He's there after the championship, taking part in the ceremony. And he is a 2-time Masters champion. That's kind of a big deal there.
That's all that the patrons care about.
I mean, most guys there only win it once.
If you could just give me a Saturday pairing with Rory and Sergio.
You want Rory and Sergio or Rory and Reed?
That I would rather have on Sunday.
Okay.
Because Rory and Sergio, by all accounts, were friends. And Sergio's not all that happy that Rory has just basically pushed many years of a friendship aside over business.
Right. Yes. He's been out of shape about it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Sergio will remind Rory that he's not invited to the dinner on Tuesday. You had your chance. You blew it.
In fact, that should have been out of bounds on 10, but no one had ever hit a ball there before, Rory.
Right. It's out of bounds now. It wasn't then. Nobody envisioned a ball would end up there. Certainly not the second weekend in April. Maybe August, but not April.
Maybe when they let the media play that one time, there's going to get one over there.
Right. Maybe on Monday, but come on now. So, has been a tremendous start to the season, though. I mean, golf's had their, a lot of their PGA Tour anyway has had their best players playing well at or near the top of leaderboards in just about all the events they're playing. I mean, hope that's the case for Augusta, which starts
just
a week from
sprinkled
Thursday.
with a few live guys.
Oh, yeah. Well,
just give me one or two that are on that leaderboard. They don't all have to be, but I need DJ, Sergio, somebody to have a week.
Wouldn't you love a Tiger-Phil pairing in which they literally don't speak to each other? I mean, here's the funny, 15 years from now, they're going to have Tiger and Phil be the ceremonial tee shot guys? I mean, one guy's won it 4 times, the other, or 5 times. The other guy's won it 3. Seriously, who are you going to have it with if not those two?
And again, I don't think Augusta cares about Live Golf versus PGA Tour. I don't. They care about their tournament.
Right. And when they ask you to be the ceremonial golfer, it's tough to say no. Although I will say they waited till Watson turned near 70 before they asked him. That's Tom Watson, for goodness sakes.
Well, they still thought he might want to play.
Well, he did, but
they even made it too long for him. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when what's on tap. That's how we finish things off on what's been a great Monday right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East. least.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I have the Ninja. That's the fryer and the pressure cooker and the whole ball of wax. It's a pretty good little machine. Jimmy Trina's got a home run call for Sterling for Volpe. When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie. That's a Volpe.
Oh, my goodness. They're beginning the process of phasing him out. He's still doing the overwhelming majority of the games, but he's not doing them all. They've already hired
the
guy who's going to be the third person. So I'm pretty sure it's just the golfers.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Brendamore's kid plays for Quinnipiac. They play at 12:30 on Saturday, saying Brendamore could probably get to the game.
Because Quinnipiac's the night game, right? 8:30. He's got to get back Sunday, 6:00. So, and he probably thinks he's got to be back for the morning skate. Oh no, wait, hold on. My bad. I don't know how he does it. Canes play at 8:00 Thursday night in the Frozen Four. They're in Nashville.
1 minute.
It's if they're in the championship game on Saturday, they have a 12:30 game. Logic Man, there was one perfect bracket out of the 20 million as of the Elite Eight.
30 seconds.
I'm assuming that person got one of the 4 games wrong.
Yes. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Miss any part of the show? Download our podcast, floridasportsnetwork.com. Like an hour ago when we interviewed Dusty May, the head coach of FAU. David Sampson among the guests already scheduled for tomorrow's show. For the record, Miller and Moulton both very much against the foul call at the end of Creighton San Diego State. I have a feeling, Mark, that, I mean, besides the excitement, FAU, Miami, in-state schools and what have you, if there's water cooler talk today, it could be people going, what'd you think? Foul?
What did you think, Felipe? Foul or no foul at the end of the San Diego
I
State?
did see it. I don't think you make that call at the end of the game. I'm with you guys there. You ref the game like you refed it in the first quarter, or first half, I should say.
Well, how about you refed it for 39 minutes and 59 seconds?
They didn't call fouls the whole game.
That foul was the 22nd foul called in the game. Think about that. Each team had exactly 11 fouls. So Creighton had been whistled for 10 fouls the whole game. And that was the 11th? Oof. Listen, Barkley was against it, but when Jay Wright, Mark, came out strong and was against it, I'm sorry, then it was a bad call.
And what Jay Wright really alluded to is that there is a understanding between the coaches, the players, and the referee of how a game's called. And he just flat out said that game was called one way and called differently at the end, and that shouldn't happen.
Also, you don't make that call. The shot misses. We go to overtime. It's a whole new ballgame.
Well, you can't, do the whole, we go to overtime and it denied the fans and what have you. It's just a matter of, should that have been a foul call? I don't think it was, even if the game was called tight, I was not crazy about the call, period. Because yes, he put his hand on him. But, Mark, we see it all the time with DBs and receivers. Oftentimes a DB will put his hand on a receiver to kind of feel out, okay, this is where the receiver is, or to get his balance and make sure he's not going to stumble and fall. I didn't think Nembhard pushed him. I thought he put his hand on his hip, but I didn't think he extended his arm. I didn't think he pushed him. When I saw the replay, the guy goes straight up in the air. He lands and falls to the left.
Deflect into the left.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1513. Ponce de Leon and his expedition's first site, Florida. Today in 1939 was the first NCAA men's basketball championship. Oregon beats Ohio State. Your final score, 46-33. Kentucky wins their third title today in 51. Singing in the Rain debuts today in 52. UCLA beats Nova in 71 for their 5th consecutive title. Today in 78, Kentucky beats Duke for their 5th title.
Jack Givens had like 41 or something.
41, you're exactly right.
He was from Linden, New Jersey. That's where my father's side of the family lived.
So you could safely say that Jack Givens was the pride of Linden, New Jersey?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
The big eruption wasn't till May, but Mount St. Helens becomes active today for the first time in 123 years, today in 1980. In 81, Ozzy's debut solo album, Blizzard of Oz, is released. May have to find that today on Apple Music.
There you go.
Let it rip. Greg Norman sets a scoring record at Sawgrass today in 94, 24 under, beating Fuzzy Zeller by 4. In 2000, Hal Sutton wins the TPC going wire to wire, winning a stroke ahead of Tiger Woods.
Be the right club today. That's where that came from.
And Grey's Anatomy debuted today in 2005.
You believe that's still on the air?
I can tell you this with all sincerity. I've never seen an episode.
Really?
Never.
Not one of McDreamy, huh?
Not one.
Neither have I, Mark.
And I don't feel like I've missed a damn thing. Celebrating birthdays today, Cale Yarborough's 84 years old today. Quentin Tarantino and Randall Cunningham are both 60. Mariah Carey's 54. Fergie's 48, yes. And Buster Posey is 36 years old today. What did I miss, David?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
Good.
I mean, I wasn't really. I was paying attention to you and not paying attention to my this day in history. So, I mean, Marlon. The only thing I got that I found interesting: Brando turned down the Oscar 50 years ago today.
Turned it down.
Turned it down. Yep. Okay. He won it for The Godfather. Okay. He attended. He had someone attend the Oscars in his place. Okay. And that person got up on stage and said very regretfully that he could not accept the award. He was protesting Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans in film.
Miami lost in the Elite Eight last year. Now they're in the Final Four. That's all I got.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Gastonia, North Carolina for the good. City Church, actually. They started a Hope Closet a few years ago, giving away clothing for kids who may be displaced or kids in school that need new shoes. Pastor read an article about the growing number of kids whose school lunch accounts remained unpaid. In Gaston County, the pastor learned that families owe a total of $13,000. So they took an offering to see if they could knock it out. In 2 weeks, they raised $23,000 and knocked out every lunch debt in the county. Well done.
Awesome.
Absolutely. For the bad, we go to Venice, Italy, that is, where Italian authorities are searching for a man who jumped off a 3-story building into a canal. Calling the man an idiot, the mayor of the town said in a Twitter post that he would give the man a certificate of stupidity and a lot of kicks. The video's gone viral. They are now looking for who shot the video and the person who jumped, wanting to arrest them both. Couldn't get me in one of those canals. They're filthy. Finally, the ugly. We go to LAX, where a passenger on Saturday was arrested for opening an emergency exit door aboard the plane and activating the emergency slide prior to takeoff. It was around 10 a.m. in the morning when the passenger asked the flight attendant, "What do I do now?" The flight attendant insisted that the man sit down, but he ran from the flight attendant, went to the plane's emergency exit door, turned the latch, opened the door, and slid down the emergency slide. The plane was forced to stop. The man jumped onto the back of a luggage cart where luggage workers held him down until police got there. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, March the 27th, 2023.
Didn't plan the second part of that exit out very well.
No.
First part, pretty cool. You know, you could see it as part of like, you know, a couple scenes in an action movie, but when they got you held down to a luggage cart, that last plan didn't go well.
That's like a really expensive little trick he made there too. Because it's not cheap to get those things all put back in.
No. Mm-mm.
Well, we got to that point, David. You know, we've had lots and lots to watch. We're running out of things.
Well, there's no doubt. There is no doubt. You know, we've got Final Four, got to hold off till Saturday. You do have women's Elite Eight tonight. South Carolina's 35-0. They're playing at 7 o'clock. They're trying to become the 10th. I believe it's the 10th or 11th, but I think the 10th women's team to ever go undefeated and win the title. And remember, they won the title last year, beating UConn. So they're trying to do what the Georgia football team's done. Go back to back here. At 35-0, they're 14.5-point favorites. Here's why I want them to win. If they win, you know who they play in the semis? Caitlin Clark in Iowa. I mean, come on, that's really what we want to see. You got the great team against the great player. I mean, there you go. Let's do this. They play Friday also. Ohio State, Virginia Tech, the other Elite Eight game. Virginia Tech a 3-point favorite. Winner faces LSU.
It's a must-win for the Panthers.
One of 6 games in the NHL tonight. They're in Ottawa. They're 3 points behind the Penguins for the final playoff spot. Each team has 9 games left. They are 4 points behind the Islanders, and the Islanders only have 8 games left. Panthers could, with a win tonight and an Islanders loss at home against the Devils, they'd be only 2 points behind the Islanders, and they'd have a game in hand. So the Panthers still have a shot at either wild card, Mark, but the key part of the equation is they got to win tonight at Ottawa.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to pass the Islanders, though, because I think the first tiebreaker is regulation wins, in which they're 3 back in that. So things do not bode well for Florida in any of the tiebreak scenarios. They've got to win some games here and get a little lucky to make the postseason.
NBA tonight, none of the Florida schools in action, and really not a game that impacts the Heat. However, there are 2 interesting games tonight. The Mavs right now are not even in the play-in. They've made the trade with Kyrie, and they've done nothing but lose. Luka can't play tonight because he got too many technicals. So he's suspended for tonight's game in Indiana. It's a big game for Dallas. They're a game out of the play-in. And Mark, does the MVP get decided tonight in Denver? Embiid and the Sixers against Jokic and the Nuggets.
Ooh.
A lot of people taking up Embiid's cause. When those two faced one another in Philly, Embiid was the better player. Now, Jokic and the Nuggets just whacked Giannis, although Giannis had a big game, and the Bucks over the weekend. Now it's Philly. And Mark, you and I have talked about this. It's unbelievable to us because in the other sports, they don't care about individual awards at all. The NBA is obsessed with who they're going to give the MVP to. Obsessed by it.
This all started in the Jordan era when they had to decide to give it to other players because they were having really good years because we couldn't give it to Michael every year. And that's when it started, and it's never ended, David.
And now they don't want Jokic to win 3 in a row. They didn't have a problem him winning either of the 2 years, but now that, quite frankly, he should win it this year, they're like, well, we can't have him be a 3-time MVP. Do you know how short the list is of guys who have won 3 straight MVPs? We can't put him on that list. That'd be ridiculous. It's become a black-white thing. It's become an American, non-American thing. It's a thing. And believe
it was
me.
the thing in the All-Star game when he got picked last.
Right.
I mean, come on.
No. He didn't get picked last because he made sure that he wasn't picked
true.
last. He just
That's
walked
true.
up to LeBron
Oh, that's
on the
right.
stage.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. He was going to be picked last, and instead he cut in the line and said, I'm on his team.
I apologize.
LeBron, you're picking me, by the way. Yeah.
But trust me, this is fascinating. The faction of the NBA that'll be rooting for Embiid tonight versus the faction of the NBA rooting for Jokic. 90% of the league's rooting for Embiid tonight.
Nuggets are a 5-point favorite for what it's worth. By the way, the Mavericks are an underdog tonight against the Pacers. Just a point, but still.
No Luka.
No, I know. Really doesn't matter if they had him or not the way they've been playing since Kyrie and Luka came together.
So right.
Goodness, lost 4 in a row. So that's what's going on in the sports world tonight. Final days of spring training. Season gets underway Thursday.
Reminder to text RAISE to 21,000 to win tickets to the Rays opener against the Tigers. It's that simple. All you have to do is text the keyword RAISE to 21,000, and you have your opportunity to win tickets. We will give them away on our show on Wednesday.
David Sampson will join us tomorrow, 7 o'clock. And we feel pretty confident that we're going to have plenty of FAU and Miami guests the rest of the week as well. Between Jim Larinaga and the two play-by-play voices, we think we'll have you covered.
Miller and Moulton. We'll do it all over again Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. Thanks for listening.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your